Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are live, finally, live and on the air, waiting for this 10K BTC party to finally happen. What's up, guys? Node investor here. Is it there yet? Are we there? Are we so there? How much can I zoom in on this chart? Welcome to the 10K party. It's gonna happen, right? This is it. Is this the moment we've all been waiting for? The 10,000 Bitcoin? Now, 10,000 is just a round number, a psychological number. But come on, 10,000 Bitcoin. I was just thinking about that earlier today. We've traveled quite the road this year. And for anybody who's been with me since way back in the day, like April of this year, back in the day. Man, when was that? When I had that $100 billion contest. Some of you guys were on that. I gave away some Litecoin, and I gave away more than one winner. And I think Litecoin was like 20 or 30 bucks at the time. And we hit 100 billion. Where was that? It was like in June something, June 5th or something like that, June 6th. And that was amazing. And here we are. And then we went to 200, and then we went from 200 to 300 in weeks. I mean, we've come a long ways, ladies and gentlemen. Cryptocurrency, the most exciting investment trading space right now, hands down, the best place to be. And here we are. I mean, we are living history. I mean, when you think about just the attention Bitcoin's getting now, I mean, it's going to be on the Big Bang Theory. How much more mainstream do you get than that? Bitcoin is going to be on Big Bang. I'm still waiting for it to be on The Simpsons. How is it not on The Simpsons? Is The Simpsons still around? I love The Simpsons. But anyway, Bitcoin, 10,000. This is historic in a lot of ways, in the sense that you just look at the year that we've been through. We started the year, what was it, $1,000 or sub $1,000? Let's go to the chart. Bitcoin. I mean, if you look at just what we've been through this year, January 1st, on CoinMarketCap, which is a good average for all the different exchanges. Yeah, we were right at 1,000 basically. What was it? 9 something? Let's call it 1,000. And then we had the big rally, and then the big scare, and then the next rally, and then the next scare. And there was just so many events. There was the Bitcoin Cash fork. There was Ethereum, one of the biggest winners this year. There was this nice rally, which we saw, the first major altcoin pump. I mean, I know if you've been around for a long time and you saw the big altcoin pump a couple years ago, we had names like Feathercoin and some of these other names. And yeah, even Doge back in the day. But this was a big shift. Once we started to get this big pump in March, April, and the altcoins running along with Bitcoin, everything was in sync. You had those 10x, 50x moves, just incredible. We had the big scare, and remember, that was a big deal. We went from sub 3,000, and hitting that 3,000 mark was a milestone in and of itself, all the way back down to that 1,800. And I know some of you guys were with me then, and that was it. We called the bottom, and here we go. And Ethereum went down to 140 bucks, and then it popped. And we had that little Bitcoin Cash scare, and everybody was, it's going to sell, it's not, it's going to, it was just very scary. And what was the big deal? We were all so freaked out. And then during this fork came the rise of new names. Neo, Omise Go, IOTA just really started a pump. We saw this next leg up, took us to 5,000. And then the FUD really started. China, ICOs, Jamie Dimon, bam. Then once the news came out about China, that was over, and then it was off to the races again. And this latest leg from the low of 3,000s took us all the way to 8,000. And you were with me on this epic 5-hour live stream where we went from 6,300 that night down to $5,400. Bitcoin Cash went parabolic, $2,500, and all the way back down. And here we are, just a few weeks later, knocking on the door of 10,000 Bitcoin. It's been a ride, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a ride. And here's the fun part. I'm just now getting calls from friends and relatives, and not even that many yet, saying, whoa, been watching Bitcoin go up a couple $1,000 just in the last month. What's going on? How do I buy some? Where do I get some? What the heck is a Bitcoin wallet? We still are the early adopters. But the mainstream is coming. 2018 will be the year of Bitcoin going mainstream. And not only Bitcoin, but many of the blockchain technology, in my opinion. You're going to see some of these platform stocks or tokens come back. You're going to see a lot of those names. And yes, everyone's getting the FOMO. And so what happens next? Well, there's two scenarios. Well, there's a handful of scenarios, but there's two that I'm thinking about here. So we've got the potential for the J curve, the parabolic blow off top that could happen. It certainly could happen. And so let's see here. Let's do this real quick. And so if you're familiar with assets doing the J curve parabolic blow off top, we've seen this happen in a lot of different assets, and people are calling Bitcoin the bubble right now. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But here's the thing I want to point out. Let me zoom my chart up a little bit here. And now the projections are coming. 20,000 Bitcoin, 40,000 by the end of the next year, 500,000. Okay, let's calm down. Let's take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time. All right, so the J curve, right? We've seen these lows coming in, and for a while it was a parallel channel, but then it starts to get steeper and steeper, and the corrections get deeper or shallower, excuse me, and the rise gets bigger, right? And you see what ultimately becomes this parabolic blow off top. And those, if you see one of those, they're good and bad in the sense that if you're on the train when it takes off, there's just no telling how high it could go. And I mean, it could go, let me zoom out a little bit. It could really get going from 10,000, you could see it very quickly jump to 12, maybe 15. I mean, it just goes straight up until the buyers are exhausted. But the bad news is, generally speaking, there's a very long pause after one of these parabolic curves. And so if you see this going straight up, who knows how high it goes? But then, generally speaking, there's a sharp pullback, then there's the bump, and then there's a sharp pullback. And then somewhere in here, it levels out, and then it rests for a while, and it's a long while generally. But then it comes back, and then we go again. And so the last time we saw something like this happen on Bitcoin was during the Mt. Gox debacle. And so let me hop over here. If you go to Bitstamp, they've got a good history. I was on Bitstamp. And so 2013, Bitcoin went from $100 to over $1,000 in 2 months. And that was a parabolic move. It was a 10x move, and it happened very quickly. And so let me zoom in on that point of the chart there. And I don't want to say it's different this time, but it was different that time. I mean, Bitcoin wasn't worth anywhere near what it's worth now from a market cap perspective. Secondly, there weren't as many Bitcoin out in the market. And third, the exchange volume was so concentrated, it was very easy to manipulate. And that's exactly what was happening. There was manipulation happening here, and Mt. Gox had all the volume, but it was being pumped up. And look at where it went. It basically went from $119 to a peak of $1,150 in the span of 2 months. And then, sure enough, that pulled back. We had the big pullback, took it all the way back down to $300, then back up. And then it was just kind of the slow grind down after that for a long time. And, that's when everybody said Bitcoin's dead, Bitcoin's done. At that time, granted, the ecosystem wasn't anywhere near where it's at. There was no such thing as Coinbase. There was no Bittrex. There wasn't a lot of these things, right, that we have now. You couldn't accept Bitcoin on your website unless you really went through a lot of hurdles. You couldn't do a lot of things. And so here we are today. Now there's a very strong ecosystem. There's institutional support. You've got futures potentially coming, an ETF potentially coming. You've got mainstream adoption around the corner, and you have a whole universe of tokens now that are just more than a peer-to-peer currency. You've got platforms and ICOs and 10x token cards and so much more. It's a very interesting space. And I love it. And so, good question. How long have I been investing in BTC? Well, I missed the first parabolic curve. And that's actually when I learned about Bitcoin, when it went up in 2013 and people were talking about it. And at that time, you had to download the whole stinking node and buy it. And it was just like, it's almost comical to look back at how hard it was to buy Bitcoin and the whole paper wallets. And it was almost annoying. And I just never got it. A couple of my buddies did. They went in, they got on the pump, they left. And I was mostly trading stocks and other things at the time. But then when it started to settle out, right when it started to do that big pullback around $300-400, and it just sat there for a couple years, and that's really when I got back into it. And if you haven't heard the story, I didn't actually buy my first Bitcoin. What I ended up doing is I started doing some mining. And so I was looking at this area down here, and I started doing some mining. I actually did some Litecoin mining back during this parabolic curve. But then I started seeing this, and I started doing a lot more mining here. And that only lasted a few months. But then I thought, this is the bottom. And I remember telling somebody, I quoted this to them in 2016. I said, Bitcoin's at $400. This is it. If you're a believer in Bitcoin, this is where you start getting in. And that's where I started to get in. And I wish I would have bought a lot more. It was still very small percent of my overall holdings. And then I really started to get heavy into it in 2015 and 16 when it started to go up. And that's when I bought my first Ethereum in the summer of 2016. What was Ethereum back then? I think that was the right date because Ethereum was like $8 when I first picked it up. Let's go take a look at the charts. I think all around Ethereum has still been probably my number one gainer. Litecoin being second, I'm thinking. Neo's got to be close, but I don't think it's been a big of percent move as Ethereum has for me. But yeah, it was right in this little place here. This is where I started hearing about Ethereum, and it actually bought some at 12, and then it dipped to 8. I was picking it up here, and I almost forgot about it. I just kind of left it there. And then it started to go and went all the way back up, and that was that. And this was the whole when Ethereum hit $20, that was the whole DAO thing, and everybody freaked out. And you remember that? The DAO hack? Man, who was around for that? How many of you guys have been around since that long ago, where we were all excited about Ethereum and it was going to $20 and then it just collapsed? And then I forgot about it, and it went bleh, and then boom. And one day you wake up and it's $40. And so, little funny history here, right? So this is you can go back and watch it. This was one of my first YouTube videos when I was talking about Ethereum breaking out above $50, and everybody said it was too expensive. It had just come from 12 to 20 to 44 on the news of the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, and then it just sat tight, and it did a very nice textbook ascending triangle pattern. I said, if this thing goes, it's going to go. $53 was my breakout point. I remember that. And bam, off to the races. Then we went to $100, then it based out. Then we went to $200, and then we were at $300, and then the panic started. But it's been good. It's been good, ladies and gentlemen. Crypto is the place to be right now. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And so here we are. Ethereum knocking on the door of $500. And you know, I really was thinking Ethereum would hit 500 before Bitcoin hit 10K. Come on, Ethereum. There's still some time left. There's a few minutes left. So looking at Bitcoin, just taking the big picture view, now that I've rambled about my history here. I mean, on a percentage basis, just think about it. You've got to move up less than 2% to get to 10K. And so that's nothing. Now the question is, what's going to happen, right? When it hits 10K, is it going to hit the sell button? Is everybody going to say yes, take some profit? Or is it going to just really get going? Are we going to just quickly blast through 10 and hit 10.2, 10.5? Where does it go? And a couple of things to think about there. You know, on one side, Bitcoin is getting pretty big from a market cap perspective, right? $166 billion market cap. I mean, to double that, that's going to be huge. I mean, that's enormous to double that. So could Bitcoin go from 10,000 to 20,000? I mean, it could, especially if we go parabolic, but I mean, it's not going to happen this year. I mean, there's, you know, it's just not going to happen. They're saying, yeah, 40,000 by end of next year. And if the trajectory continues, that's in the realm of possibility. But what I'm looking at is, okay, we've got a couple percent to go on the BTC side. Would it make sense to hold for 2%, 5%, 10% more? I mean, 10% more gets you to 11,000, right? Would you hold for another 10% more on Bitcoin? Or would it make sense to just, at this point, start looking at some of the alts and start moving in that direction? Because 10% for an altcoin is nothing. And so maybe you start to look at that. And that's kind of what I'm looking at now. I'm starting to think some of these alts are going to continue to outperform. And maybe, right? And we'll find out here when Bitcoin really starts to pop. But I mean, you just look at some of the names that have already been breaking out here. Let's go to some of these here. Ethereum Classic. Been very strong last couple of days versus Bitcoin. On the USD side, I mean, this thing has just been marching along. Once it broke out above that $18, $19 range, it's been off. Give you a couple good secondary entries here. Another one here just a couple of days ago or yesterday, and then off. Here we go. EOS. And I know they've got some testnet coming on here. Pretty good, but one of the early movers. And this one has just been phenomenal here in the last couple of weeks. And so you've already had some big moves, right? You've had Dash. I mean, once Dash broke out above that trend line, we saw 100% move on Dash. Went from $300 to $600. So we've had some incredible moves on these. And I think we're going to see more of those. And the names are just going to be different, right? I don't think Dash is going to give us another 100% from here. It's going to need to pause and do some work. It could still go higher. And in fact, when you look at the chart, it's actually setting up pretty nicely. It's tightening up here, sitting out, and looking like it wants to do another leg up. Maybe we see $700 Dash. Ethereum, it's already gone up. What? Now that's ETH BTC. ETH USD, been very quietly moving. And that's up, what, 40, 50%? A couple weeks. And it's been a slow mover up until recently. It was giving you that move, but I was talking about it here, and you guys were paying attention. Talking about these levels when it breaks out, then it hit 340, and I said 340, and then 370 is the next level, and it went to 370, and then quickly, once we get over the old highs, it'll move, and that's what happened. It went boom, give you a couple hours of pause, and here we are, $475 Ethereum. Litecoin. Let's take a look at Litecoin. And I'm keeping an eye on Bitcoin, so if we start to get close, everybody just holler and let me know in case I keep rambling. So Litecoin, again, another one. I mean, just textbook moves on some of these. So zooming out, I mean, Litecoin has been one of these really kind of fickle names, hard to play, but this was it. So this was the pattern I was watching. If you're familiar with these, right, I was watching this cup and handle pattern. right there. And it didn't really have a huge breakout initially, kind of just started edging out. But then it finally cleared it, and that was it. That was a solid breakout on that day. And since then, we've just been marching up very nicely. Came right to the old highs, pause. I was hoping for a little bit more of a pause, but here we are. I'm not complaining. And we're kind of moving up, still marching away. So let me see. What are you saying? $11 away? Depends on the exchange. Not where I'm seeing it here. So here we are going Litecoin. So what do I think Litecoin's going to do next? So Litecoin, let's look at Litecoin BTC. I'm scrolling all over the place here. I'll get there. So Litecoin BTC here, just the last couple days, yeah, it's up, down, but for the most part, just sitting par. So Bitcoin goes up, Litecoin's been going up. It's kind of reversed that long downtrend it finally had, and it's been basing out very nicely, putting a little bit of a handle here. I'm thinking it's going to start outperforming Bitcoin. And what I'm looking at is Litecoin breaking out to new highs. It's already breaking out to new highs from a closing basis. The old closing high was, this $90 mark basically. And we did have an intraday high right around 97, 98. And I think we're going to take that out. So now it is getting high on the RSI, on the daily chart. But once you start hitting new highs, it can go higher than you think. I mean, look at back here when we went pretty strong. We went up to 88. So we have room to run. I'm thinking we're going to see triple-digit Litecoin here pretty soon. But I'm holding on to my Litecoin. What else? Neo. Man, Neo's just been down and out. So two ways to look at Neo, right? Neo USD, I'm liking the chart. I'm thinking this is setting up, and you're going to see when I go through some of these, there's a lot of charts that are doing this here. Now, I guess they're underperforming Bitcoin. I get that. But a lot of these are really sitting tight, starting to set up. And so this was one, right? We had that $37 mark was kind of the key resistance point. We busted out about that a couple weeks ago, came right back in, hit 46 on that, 49. That's pretty nice. And holding that moving average, though. And here we go, starting to edge up a little bit. So if we can break out on Neo BTC, then let me go to Neo BTC. Then there you go, right? That's kind of the levels I'm watching. There was a couple of trend lines to watch here. Let me clear this one. This is a very short term. But in the bigger scheme, right, Neo versus BTC has not broken this declining trend. And that's really the key level to be watching longer term. Near term, right, there's a couple of support levels. This most recent one is breaking down. But kind of longer term, you're starting to see this start tighten up here a little bit. So Neo, let me see here. Is this connecting here? Yeah, it kind of is, right? So you're watching this potential trend change here. And that's what I'm looking at. Neo's starting to tighten up here. There's a macro view, right? If you look at the big picture, this chart has been consolidating for a very long time on the USD side, sitting tight. And so look out for a change of this trend. If it starts to head above, and that's a big percent move, even a rally to the resistance point there is going to give you a pretty decent move. I mean, that's 20, 30%. But if it breaks out above that, USD chart's going to be new highs on Neo. And very quickly here. So you look at Neo where it's at now, old highs intraday were 50s, high 50s there. So that's 41%. So that would equate to that breakout of that resistance point there. All right, let's see here. Where we at? Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. GDAX has Bitcoin at $9,927. We are getting close. $73 away. FOMO Mike, where you at, bro? Hey, let me text him real quick. Be like, hey, FOMO Mike, what are you doing, man? Don't tell me you're sleeping. It's only midnight in Nashville. What's the problem? Oh, yeah. So, everybody should just celebrate 10K by doing something fun. Go buy yourself something nice. Don't spend all your Bitcoin in one place. But hey, why not? So you know what? I didn't even think about that. I'm going to go buy a Lambo and a Ferrari and maybe a Tesla. I'm going to do it all from the comfort of my home. Just go to Amazon.com, find some nice 1/10 scale models, 1/20th scale models, and I'm going to buy all three of them. Just one shot. Boom. Rated network token. Yeah. Been a great year, though. No doubt. Tesla Roadster. Yeah, you know what? That's a beautiful car. I got to say. All right. You guys got me all distracted here. I'm reading your funny comments. You bought your dog a Lambo. There you go. Elon Musk invented Bitcoin. Yeah, I read that article. Hilarious. You know the thing about Elon Musk, though, he's actually trying to disrupt the banking sector, and he was going to buy, or he did have X.com. He used to work in the banking sector for a while, and he saw how stupid it was and how backwards it was, and he was a programmer, and he said, we could do this way differently. And that's how he actually got involved with what ultimately became PayPal. But then PayPal went a different direction, didn't really fulfill his dream, so who knows? Maybe Elon is the one and only Satoshi Nakamoto. I doubt it. But still, pretty interesting guy. So let's see here. What are we doing? 99.29. Coinbase continues to climb. You guys should just go buy some Bitcoin. Just like push this thing over the edge. I'm kidding. All right, so we talked. Man, you're letting me down here. Watch, right before Bitcoin hits 10K, this thing's going to go pop. $500. Bam. Beat you to the finish line. We'll see. It's 5% away. Maybe. So, what's your top altcoin? So I'll tell you what I'm looking at. We talked some of the other ones, but ARK is one I'm really liking. And so I've got my highlighter there. Let me clear some of this stuff for you. Getting the alerts on my phone. Bitcoin. It's on fire. Hold on. I'm sending a text here as we speak to FOMO Mike. But so ARK, I digress. What I was looking at here is the daily picture, right? The long-term macro scale on ARK. Let me take off these indicators here for you guys. But this chart's really getting tight. And it's been in this long correction, consolidation, however you want to call it, versus BTC. It's underperformed, clearly, since September. But this pattern is going to come to a head here real soon. There's a little bit of a battle happening here, very much like I saw on Ethereum a couple weeks back. It's getting shaky. They're trying to break it out. They're trying to sell it off. And I'm thinking ARK's going to give you a couple more days, maybe a week or two before it really starts to decide what it wants to do here. So keep an eye on this one. It's right in that market cap zone where it's high enough to be attractive, but not too high, and it could still make a big move. And so versus USD, again, similar to some of these other ones I mentioned, this one's sitting real tight, and it's about to make new highs on the USD chart. We're right there, right? I mean, much over $4, and it's going to start going. And so it's looking good. So I'm liking ARK. It's one of the ones I'm watching here for a potential breakout versus Bitcoin. Yeah, Cardano, that's another one that was moving out here. And that one, it was breaking out. And so here we go. Had that breakout. This was really your entry. That should have caught your attention when you saw that big volume spike. And then it gave you basically a day of pause. That was it. That was your signal. And that was the breakout point. And you can see it here when you zoom in on the 1 hour chart. You could have bought it on the dip, or you could have just waited for the breakout. And that was it. And give you a very quick, 20-some% move from the breakout points. 30-40% move. Now it would have been hard to sell on that unless you just sold into strength, but still Good move. Pausing here the last couple of days, starting to edge out again. I think it's looking higher. And so this was a good move. And I know some of the folks here in my group traded this one yesterday and made a nice little trade on that. 8X, small cap name, when I was looking at here too. But see if that one breaks out too. Same thing with the trend line declining. You want to see this one break out versus BTC first. A couple other names that I'm watching here. Well, we saw Mise go. I've been talking about this in the last couple of streams, and I told you guys the USD chart was really the one to watch. That was the one giving your signals, and that 850 area was really your resistance once it broke above that, and it had a very solid breakout. Big volume came in on that breakout. Nice. Pulled back. Very normal to see a throwback right back to the resistance point. And here we go. Off to the races. So Omise Go, I'm still liking it. If you missed the breakouts, once it moves out like this, at this point, the strategy is to pick it up on the dips, right? So if you're missing the breakouts, you don't want to chase them all the way. On the RSI, it's up there. It's not crazy extended, but it's definitely getting there. But at this point, you just want to look for these pauses or these pullbacks to the moving average, and you buy them there. Now, versus BTC, though, this thing has got room to run. So this is just now edging out of this downtrend versus BTC. So you can see that RSI is still down here below 60. Not as strong, but can't complain. It's been a long time coming. I know there's a lot of you Omise Go holders out there. And I actually got some Omise Go. I've been picking it up here recently and adding it to my long-term holdings. So I'm liking Omise Go. Omise is a go. Where we at on Bitcoin? Let's check it out. 99.18, 98.71, 98.49. All right. Come on, Bitcoin. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me ramble for 5 hours again, so we got to get this show on the road. Is it going to happen tonight? Maybe. Maybe not. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it never happens. Maybe we go to $9,999.99, and then it pulls back. Hey, that could happen. Totally happen. Remember this? $4,990, and then and then we had to wait for a while before we broke that 5,000 mark. Oh, Node Investor, do I have any early trading mistake stories? Oh man, early. I make trading mistakes every day. Just keeps me on my toes here. Yeah, of course, everybody does. So, I digress. If you didn't already know, I do offer a technical analysis video course, 3.5 hours of video. You can get that at nodeinvestor.com/training. And let's go here. And then I'll answer your question because this just jogged my memory. But so there's 2 courses. If you're new to crypto, how to get started. Most of you guys probably don't need that. But technical analysis, I cover chart basics, support, resistance, trend lines, setting up your charts, the most common chart patterns, basis, technical indicators that I use, and so forth. And I most recently added a money management section on that, an hour's worth of video on that. And that is a product of my painful lessons trading and investing, and of course learning and reading and studying other people who are really good and learning from mentors and going to meetups and doing all that fun stuff. But when you're trading, and yeah, I saw some of those emails, so I apologize. Last couple of days have been crazy. I will get back to you guys on those. I promise. I answer those emails. But when you're trading, some of the most common mistakes, and they're easy to overcome, but they're just very common, and it's mostly psychology, so it's very hard from a mental perspective. But 2 of them. One is just, you hear me ramble about it all the time, but when you're trading and you don't put stops in place, it will ultimately bite you. Yes, you might get stopped out. Yes, you might get shaken out. And yes, it's annoying. But man, the times that it just crashes and keeps going down, you're going to wish you had a stop in place to preserve some capital. So number one lesson is use stops. Even if they're wide stops, they're a fail-safe mechanism. They are your maximum point that you're willing to take. Doesn't mean you have to wait till you get stopped out. You can close out a trade early. You do it all the time. But stops. Number two, position sizing. Most of the time, when I lose on a trade or when my account takes a big hit, it's because I put way too much in one trade. And then it went against me. And then I was over invested and over emotionally attached to it. And I said, no, it's going to come back and it's going to keep going. And then next thing you know, you're down 10, 20% and maybe even more. So that's what you got to do is maintain your position, a little bit of diversification in that. Don't over diversify. Don't have like 20 trade positions open. But those are the two biggies, man. And I've made those mistakes a lot, and I, still do. Of course, we're human. We make mistakes, but that's all about the disciplines. So what are my biggest losses? What are my biggest gains? In crypto, I've never lost 100%, thank God. But when I first started out trading, luckily my accounts were small and I was learning it. But yeah, I got wiped out a few times. And I was trading futures and options and things were moving fast. And you start your account with X amount of thousands and next thing you know, it doesn't take long and bam, you were done. So yeah, those were some painful lessons. And there's two things you can do when that happens. You can give up. You can be demoralized. You can say this sucks. It doesn't work and leave and never come back. Or you can learn. You can figure out what the hell did I do wrong? Some people are doing it right. What are they doing right? And you learn, and you learn, and you learn, and you learn. And eventually, and you cry. Yes, you cry. And you kick yourself. And you eat a lot of junk food, and you drink a lot of beer. And then you finally get back up, and you get over your pity party, and get back to work. And that's it. And then one day, it actually starts to work. And you start to figure it out. But I'm always learning. Still learning. Always learning. $9,928. Come on, 10K. You have 20K in ARC, but you lost your seed phrase. Yeah, that sucks. So yeah, word to the wise. If you've got wallets, man, back that up. Make sure you have a seed phrase. Make sure you back all that up because, man, that sucks. Let's see here. 9,900. Is it going to correct? Are we done? Was that it? No 10K. Yeah, Binance needs stops. How can you have an exchange with no stops? What? Really? Man, I don't know about that. Oh, let me see here. Speaking of rage, did I see that Ver interview today? Yeah, I did. Did you guys see that? If you did, first off, let me just tell you, it was kind of funny, entertaining, kind of annoying. The interview was basically pointless. There was no use out of that interview other than just kind of laughing at Ver, get pissed off over Bcash. But it was like 30 minutes plus of pointless arguing. But so I fast forwarded through most of it and just kind of saw the comical parts and listened to a few points they were trying to make, but they spent 20 minutes arguing about semantics and why you should call it cash and not Bcash and Bitcoin Cash and the different positions. And, they were making some good points, but it was, I don't know if it was worth 20, 30 minutes of my time, but yeah, I watched it. Fast forward to a lot of it though. So next time I see Roger Ver, I'm going to be like, hey, how's that Bcash doing, man? And then he's going to probably go, F you, I became a multimillionaire before you were born. So anyway, where were we? Man, I'm easily distracted here. So Bitcoin on the GDAX, $9,900. We're getting close. Uh-oh, someone just sold a little bit at $9,700. That's why it's going down. Thank you. Let's see here. I wonder how Jamie Dimon's feeling right now. He probably doesn't care. He probably just can't wait to short Bitcoin. Oh, let's see. Ethereum. You guys are asking me about Ethereum. Didn't we talk Ethereum? $475. It's right there. Man, look at that. Hit 493 on GDAX. Then decided to not. I was really hoping for that 500. 99.16. It's going. So let's see here. Let's take a look. Bitcoin Gold. Yeah, let's talk about Bitcoin Gold. So it's actually looking pretty good here on the chart. A couple of things to note on Bitcoin Gold. This reminded me very much of the EOS call I was talking about the other live stream. I said, if it's going to bounce, here's where it needs to bounce, and we're going to close, and then boom, next day EOS goes up like 20%. But this is doing the same thing. It's putting a little bit of a flag pattern. It went to the old highs on the USD chart right here on, and so this Bitcoin Gold on Bitfinex. So right around that 426 mark. Deep pullback though. That was like 60% or so. But the volume on this rise has been pretty impressive to say the least. And right now it's giving you a very normal kind of bull flag pattern. And if you go to the daily chart, there's not a lot of history on this one. So just kind of letting the moving average catch up. RSI is still healthy, so it could certainly go higher. And don't let your preconceived notions about this or your disagreement with the fork and the devs that got rich doing this Bitcoin Gold and the flaws of the project. I mean, if you're trading it, I'm not saying hold it for long term, but if you're trading it, this is what you're looking at, right? You're just going to look at this pattern. If it starts to break out, hit that 380 mark or so, that could be your early signal, especially if volume starts to come in. And who knows where this could go? I mean, if this is it kind of depends where you want to draw the flagpole there on that one. But if you do a measured move, let's be conservative and just say from this point down, if we go down here, we bust that out, say it breaks out here. I mean, there you go. You're going to see a little over $500 on Bitcoin Gold, maybe, right? So that's how you look at those. And that'd be a very nice trade here, percent-wise, 20, 30%. So got to keep it on your radar. And it's on my radar. Any thoughts on Zcash? So I like Zcash. I actually have it in my long-term holdings. And it's been very strong, very quiet, just kind of off the radar. Not a lot of noise about Zcash, but look at this move it's had here. I mean, just off the lows here, very strong. We had that big pump, and it was a big reversal day when it got added to the exchange over in Korea, but recovered very nicely, moving up, just kind of marching along. Starting to get a little up long in there, but it's pausing here. The last couple of days have been very tight, and I think we're going to see another leg up on here. So keep an eye on Zcash. Any move about 350, 360, and you can see another leg up on the Zcash. Let's see here. Let me go through some of these comments. Good questions. I'm trying to keep up. Trying to read the charts, read the comments, ramble, all at the same time. A lot of questions about the node investor. So where am I from? Well, I live in Arizona, in the United States of America. Hot, sunny, dry, brown, Arizona. But I gotta say, man, this time of year is gorgeous outside. Doing some hiking, seeing some nice sunsets. It's a good time to be out. That's what I do when I'm not looking at the screen. I'm looking at my phone screen from the top of a mountain. So let's see here. Monero, yep, Monero's looking good. IOTA. So let's take a look at some of these names. 98.57. Got to keep an eye on this. I really thought once it gets above that 9,800 level, it's going to really start to go, and then it's off to the races. But we'll see. gave us that nice brief pause for a couple days, day and a half. That scare shakeout, and everybody sold their Bitcoin at $9,200. We'll see. Decred. So let me go through some of these here. I know you guys are asking about these. Will Dash go to $1,000 before the end of the year? I think it could hit $1,000 ultimately. I don't think it'll hit 1,000 before the end of the year. It's already had a very nice run. I think we could go higher though. I think we could hit $700. But I mean, Dash has had a good run once it broke out from this downtrend that I was talking about. And we pretty much doubled. I mean, we just went from $300 to 600 plus, and it's kind of consolidating here, but I think it's going to give us another leg up and then maybe pause or pull back here. So Decred's looking good. Another one's on my short list. Let me clear some of my squiggles. So there's a couple of things I was noting on Decred here. So Decred was putting in a bit of an inverted head and shoulders pattern here, which it did break out from. And then look at where it rallied right to that declining resistance line again. And now pulling in a little bit here last couple days. So far, it's a healthy, constructive pullback, letting the moving average catch up. And this is the level you're going to want to see it hold, right? So if Decred's going to continue this rally, this is the area that needs to hold on the BTC chart. And that might actually be a good secondary entry point if you're liking Decred to pick it up. What it's doing too is, if you look at Decred on the USD chart, it was pretty extended. RSI was 85 almost. It did break out. So I had that new high breakout. And right now it's just kind of pausing. And I'd like to see a little bit more of a pause, pullback, sit tight for a couple of days, let this moving average catch up. But I think we're going to see more upside on Decred. And so I like Decred. I like the project. I think they're doing pretty good. A little bit on the lower volume name, but lately has been pretty good. And so from a BTC perspective, if you can get back above this first resistance that it's getting here, so 61 or so, 610, and then ultimately above that 700 level, then you can really start to see this one go. If it starts to break down, then just got to give it some more time here, but still pretty good. IOTA. Where we at, IOTA? Man, IOTA. Wow. Has just been crazy strong. You've seen the theme here. Broke the downtrend, rallying, and was really giving you a big pullback here a couple of days ago. Thought it was done for a while, but it was a 30% pullback. And here we are, back over $1, breaking to new highs now versus BTC. Still has room to run, technically speaking, right? RSI is not that bad here. And right now, IOTA is basically bumping into a major resistance point. I think it's going to pause here personally. Has had a big run already, and you can see that, right? So was prior support here, broke down, has rallied, bounced against twice there. So it'd be nice if it just kind of paused for a few days, settled out, and then that'll really give it some momentum to start popping out above this level. So yeah, IOTA is good if you like it. There's nothing, no sell signals on IOTA here. The race is on. Litecoin to 100, Ethereum to 500, Bitcoin to 1,000. What do you guys think? Which one goes first? I was thinking a lot Ethereum, but now I'm not. Now I'm thinking, well, I mean, if you look at the percent basis, it's pretty clear, right? Bitcoin has the easier way to go. It's only a couple percent away. You could get there much faster. Bitcoin Cash, good question. So let's go look at Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash from the USDT side is looking very nice, I got to say. Got to keep an eye on this one, guys, because it's just strong. I mean, it had that big crazy day over here where it went to 2,500 and back down, and we all saw that fun stuff. And then it just really held support right around that $1,000 mark, and then putting this little base. And lately, it's just kind of star-stepping, putting in another base here. Not performing versus Bitcoin, but on this chart, this is what I'm watching. The low end being that $1,400 mark here. So if it can stay in here, keep an eye on this one. I think this might be one that has a counter rally if Bitcoin starts to pull in. And so Bitcoin Cash, you know, there's the conspiracies, there's the big push trying to replace Bitcoin. Is the official original Bitcoin more aligns with Satoshi's dream? And, you know, I get all that. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It has the network effect. It has the brand name. It's Bitcoin. So it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash is not Bitcoin. Now, it may be truer to the original, whatever you want to call it, but got to still watch it, guys. I think it's something to keep an eye on because it's not inconceivable that Bitcoin Cash goes to 2000, goes to 2500 again. Certainly possible, and it's not really that big of a move, but it's going to be a potential good gain here if you see that happen. So, I mean, you can see it just getting back to that old mark there, $2,500 is going to give you 50+%. And I think we could certainly see something like that, especially if Bitcoin starts to correct here a little bit. So keep an eye on Bitcoin Cash. Now, Bitcoin Cash versus BTC. Here's what I'm watching on this one. Let me zoom in a little bit. On the 4-hour chart, there's still the downtrend, right? There's that's still in place. And until that changes course, if you have to pick between the two, you go Bitcoin. I mean, that's plain and simple there. But, whoa, hold on. My plug was not in. Here we go. Thought I was about to lose you guys there for a little bit. So, Bitcoin Cash, you got to watch that that downtrend. See where it starts to hold support. I really thought it was going to hold here right around that 0.16 level. It's it's kind of dipping below. So could see further downside if Bitcoin goes over 10K here. On the daily chart, just now dipping below that moving average, and it's kind of hard to see because it's very squished, but it's right back to this old consolidation here. So I'm thinking this is going to be a place where it wants to pause. And if it starts to hold this level, then it should be on your radar here, right? This low here starts to hold that. Look for a break above the trend first, and that could be a good counter rally trade there on Bitcoin Cash. What would be your stop in case it doesn't break out? So if you're in it now, if you're holding it, I'd be looking at the USD side personally on this one. I'd be looking at this chart, and that's really it. And I think the max that I'd give it is this prior consolidation here, which causes a little breakout. So that's still a big percent, but that's like max, right? 1300. It's like probably wouldn't give it much more than that. If you want to be real tight about it and just keep a really tight stop, 1450, 1475 would be that zone I'm watching. That's kind of where it's consolidating right in here. And when you look at it, it's actually getting a little tighter, a little bit more wedge-like. So kind of just taking the lows here, right? You can see this pattern really starting to tighten up here. And so any one of those levels, if you want to keep a tight stop on it, maybe just switch back into Bitcoin and then wait for that breakout above the trend line. And that may be your signal to get back into Bitcoin Cash. And where I had that green highlighted, that's kind of the level I'm watching right now. So that's what I'd like to see you back above first. And who knows? If you believe the whole Dragon Slayer thing, then this may be the deal of the decade. Bitcoin Cash. Can we take the red pill already? Have Neo take off. I like that. Yes, we should already. What the heck? Neo. What's going on here? Same thing with Neo, though, right? Just kind of watching that trend. So check this out, guys. So if you're not aware, there's a lot of F pairs you can trade. And so I've been watching this Neo Ethereum chart. And this is pretty cool because so Neo and Ethereum were kind of doing this dance, but they were kind of pretty much holding par. And then just a couple weeks ago where Neo had that big rally, it took off. And then right after that, Ethereum had that big rally and Neo sold off. And here we are back to just sitting par and holding tight. So if you're holding Ethereum and you're looking at Neo, right now it doesn't really matter. You're in both and they're kind of just Neo versus Ethereum holding. But if this starts to break out, then you pick Neo over Ethereum. So interesting chart. And you can trade ETH pairs on, I know you can trade on Bittrex and a handful of the others. Polo gives you F pairs. I know they don't have Neo, but something to keep an eye on. Kind of cool. All right. Where are we at? Let's go take a look at the BTC here. Oh, we're going the wrong direction here. What's going on? I can't keep talking for 5 hours, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have 2 10K parties. A little bit of a doji candle showing up here. I was going to say something about somebody else, but I better not. I know my audience is broad and diverse, and I know you guys follow a lot of people, so I'll try to keep my my commentary to myself. Where are we at here? Going the wrong way. It's just pausing. Near-term chart moving along nicely. Look at that volume just coming in. No, it wasn't about Ver. Not that time. Or Jamie Dimon. Here come the bears. So check this out if you guys don't follow this chart. This is the shorts Bitfinex chart. Something I don't make any trading decisions off this, but it was just real interesting to see this. And shorts are really starting to pile in here. And eventually they got to cover, right? And so the shorts are going to want to cover when Bitcoin corrects, or if Bitcoin just goes parabolic and takes off, they will be covering and helping in that buying frenzy. And then it'll correct. But this big dip in the shorts was when Bitcoin had that big smackdown from 7,000 to 5,500. And look at this. All the short sellers just went away and they were just covering, buying it all up. And that was the bottom. And then we've rallied since then. And now they're really starting to show up. So very interesting. I don't, like I said, I don't trade off of this. I just kind of watch it for interest. Kind of neat. Do you think the Big Bang Theory episode will actually have an effect on the Bitcoin price? Not immediately. Because everybody knows it's going to happen. Everybody knows it's already on Big Bang. And, you know, it's just Bit Bang. There you go. The Bit Bang Theory. Everybody knows it's already going to be on that show. So it's not like the news isn't out. What I think will happen is Coinbase user activity will go up. They're going to have a lot of users after that show. Or maybe not, right? Because the show says, what? Bitcoin's already at $5,000? And then they're going to go check and they're going to go, oh, no, it's not. It's 10. Damn, I missed it. But maybe not. I think, I don't want to stereotype. But I know you guys. And I know I talk to a lot of crypto enthusiasts. And you guys are generally a little more tech savvy and so forth. And I'm thinking a lot of Big Bang Theory watchers probably already own some Bitcoin. Maybe. Just a thought. Coinbase, $9,900. As long as we stay at $9,900, we're good to go. But we've got to go. I mean, it starts to get back down to 98, 97. If it gets to 97, that's it. I'm cutting it off. We're done. Just kidding. The Big Bang Bitcoin. No, it's called the Bit Bang Theory. No, that's dumb. Let's see here. So Bitcoin Cash, we covered that. Dash, covered that. If you're just joining the party, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. Let others know about this. And if you haven't, for whatever reason, please subscribe to the channel. You know, I probably don't do a daily video, and I know some people wish I would, but I do pretty often. And sometimes I do several in a row, and then other times maybe 1 or 2 a week. But hey, guys, subscribe, hit that like button. I'll try to keep you informed. I try to let you know what I'm thinking on the charts, and that's what it is. I do charts. It's all about the charts and the TA here on this channel. I don't do fundamental reviews. I don't do ICO reviews. I know a lot of other channels do. They're sponsored. Sometimes they're not sponsored. And I get a lot of email requests for ICO reviews and projects and offers for tokens and bonuses. And you know, some of the projects are good, but that's just not my channel. Probably not going to cover those. But I do charts. I do technical analysis. I like charts. I like looking at charts. So if you don't like looking at charts, my channel's not for you. But you do get some entertaining, delirious banter, especially when it gets late at night. So what else are we doing here? 10K, then 5K. Man, that would be crazy, huh? Are Ichimoku clouds good? So if you guys don't know what he or she are talking about, it's a technical indicator. I don't trade on them. You know, some people use the Ichimoku clouds, they use the Bollinger Bands. And they just, I mean, there's other indicators that generally give you the same sense of overbought, oversold type of things. And my philosophy on the indicators is you got to keep it simple, right? Find some that work for you. And I'm not against having Bollinger Bands or Ichimoku clouds or however you want to, you know, whatever works. And you got to try a few out, see what works best for you. But ultimately, the two things, and you've heard me say this before, price and volume. You gotta be able to read those, right? And indicators are secondary. I mean, if just going based on price and volume, if you had no moving averages, if you had nothing to look at, you could do a lot just based on price and volume. There's charts, there's patterns, there's, especially if you know how to read some of the candlestick patterns. I mean, this tells you a lot just right here. But it does help to have some other indicators. Probably other than volume, the most commonly used for me is the 10-period EMA, the exponential moving average. And EMA works very well for cryptos. If you're doing stocks or something else, I don't do EMA generally. I do a simple moving average, and it's a little bit longer too. It's 10 is for quick trades, but 21 period or 50 days, kind of what you look at there. And then you want to look at something like an RSI or maybe a MACD. You notice I don't have the histograms on my MACD. I just generally use the MACD for two things. I'll do the signal crossover to see if it's kind of a confirmation. But more often than not, I'm using it for bullish and bearish divergences. And so if you're seeing the MACD rise when the price is dropping, that's what they call a bullish divergence. And you can also get that signal on the RSI. And so I use those, and I'll use the RSI for kind of a gauge of overbought, oversold. But that's very subjective because it just depends. It's relative to where the price is, right? You can't just go based off the RSI and say when it hits 75 or when it hits 80, I'm selling, right? So that's it. And I'll do some fibs once in a while. I'll do some other stuff. But for the most part, you want to keep it simple. You want to just try to focus on the price and the volume action, the sentiment readings and all that. And you can do a lot with just that. So check this out. If we did a fib retracement, let's say it just paused right here. That was it. We are done. Let me go the other way. That was on a bounce. I'm not doing the bounce fib. Please recommend good technical analysis books. Good question. I will get to that in one sec. So Fibonacci. So if you're not familiar with the Fibonacci ratios, actually, if you like to get a little geeked out on this stuff, it's very interesting where these numbers show up all over the place, not just in the investment world. But there's a Fibonacci sequence, and you notice the 50% is not on here because 50% is not a Fibonacci sequence. But if you look at this, I mean, it's just kind of another way to look at the charts, and look at how interesting it looks right here. If we pulled back right now, or actually, let's go to 10K. Let's say it went to 10K, and then we stopped right there and pulled back. The first key Fibonacci number is this 0.382 retracement level. Look at where it pauses. Right on support. prior resistance equals new support. So it could very likely come right back down to 82, 8,300 bucks and hold that level. So it's kind of interesting how that works. And then the next key level would be the 618. And you got to just kind of look at these relative to the price, right? The 618 makes sense. Is it just going to be a random number, right? It would make more sense that if it paused around 74, 7,500, but maybe it could overshoot and hit the 618. So it's just another way of looking at things, but that's some ways to do it. But at the end of the day, keep it simple. I see some charts out there. You look at some of the charts on TradingView, and there's some good ones. Don't get me wrong. But man, some of those charts out there are messy. Like 20 lines going in different directions and colors and this and that. And it's like, you can't even see the candlesticks anymore. It's just like, it's a drawing. So keep it simple, because what happens is if you have too many indicators and too many lines and charts, and eventually they start to conflict, and you get paralysis of analysis. And do I buy? Do I wait? Do I buy? Is this a breakout? Then you're done. Simplicity. So let's see here. So how is crypto trading different from stock trading? There's a couple of key differences. One, the biggest being crypto is 24/7 global, around the world, very close to like Forex trading. And stocks in some ways are nice because the market closes, you get weekends off, all that fun stuff. What I really am annoyed about when I was doing stock trading is the whole earnings season. God, it just comes too often. It's like earnings every 3 months, and the earnings season starts a month before and a month later. And it's like every 2 months you're in earnings season, and you wake up and the stocks gap up and they gap down and you can't buy it. It's a little different. But crypto is very different because you don't sleep. You don't need sleep when you're trading crypto because it's 24/7. And so it's a little bit different. What else? It's faster. So a month in crypto is like 3 months in the stock market. No, a month in crypto is like 6 months in the stock market. So that's what you do. It's kind of funny. I was looking at some stocks the other day and I made some trades a few weeks back. And then I haven't really been doing stock trading. It's mostly just been crypto for me lately. Well, it has been almost all crypto this year. And put on some stock trades, and then I kind of forgot about it for like a week. I went back and checked. And I'm like, oh man, forgot about those positions. And they were like up 3%. It's like, oh, how boring is this? So I went and bought some options, and it was like a couple weeks later, a couple days later, it's like, well, they're up 12%, and it's you just get so used to crypto's incredible speed, the volatility. And yeah, crypto's the Wild West, right? There's no SEC yet. There's no regulation. You can pump and dump. You can have insiders and all kinds of stuff and rumors, and just different. So some questions about best books. Actually did a little bit of a video on that. Top 5 books for technical analysis. And there's differences, right? So there's technical analysis, and then there's actually like trading and investing psychology and mentality and systems, and there's all that fun stuff. But if you just want to learn just basic chart reading, technical analysis, some of the top 5 books that I recommended. First one being How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill. Yes, this book focuses on stocks, and there's a whole section on just the fundamental analysis and earnings and ROI and all that fun stuff, and you can factor that out. But he is very big on charts in stocks and bases and breakouts and all that stuff, and it's just great. And so it applies and it carries over, and he's huge on discipline, stops, and scaling in and scaling out of positions and all that. So highly recommended. William O'Neill, he is the founder of Investors Business Daily, and he goes back, and a lot of his influence was Wyckoff and Jesse Livermore and a lot of those greats, and their style just resonates a lot with how I like to approach it. So works good. Another one is Volume Price Analysis by Anna Cooling. That's just more focusing on volume. If you want to get deep on just candlestick charting, Steve Neeson's book is kind of the book on candlestick charting. One thing to be aware of that, though, is I treat candlestick patterns very much like a secondary indicator. You pay attention to them, and yes, you see the dojis and you see all that stuff, but um, you can't just do it in isolation, right? You gotta look at the candlestick and where is it relative to maybe the moving average and maybe some of the volume and all that other stuff. And then the rest of these are like textbooks / encyclopedias, and they're more references, technical analysis for financial markets, and then the encyclopedia of chart patterns. This is like, it really is the encyclopedia, but oh man, if you like chart patterns, this is the book to get. I mean, he doesn't just tell you what the chart patterns are. He tells you the different variants of it and the probabilities of them working, how often they work, and where you buy them and where you sell them. And just an incredible book. But it's not one you just sit down and read because it's boring and tedious and all that stuff. But those are my books. Some other ones in this video that I mentioned, some notable mentions that talk about trading and psychology. There's a couple books I read here recently, one on swing trading that was a really good read. So there's a lot. There's a lot out there. There's like a million investment trading books out there. So just pick a couple of the basic ones and get started because they're endless. You could just be reading forever. Oh, well, yeah. 99, 98, 99. Come on, guys. Let's do this. So we've got 700 plus people watching the 10K, the maybe 10K Bitcoin party. It's going to probably happen like at 2 in the morning my time. It's okay. So let's see here. You guys want to look at some more charts? Let's talk charts. Ever thought about writing a book? Yes, I have. Actually, I'm looking into it right now and working on it. It's kind of like number 5 on my priority list in terms of projects, but I am doing a book. And eventually it will be there. And I'm going to keep it short and to the point because there's a lot of other really good books out there that can cover this, but I want it to be cryptocurrency specific. And I'll let you guys know more about that. Definitely a next year thing. Zcash, Zencash, Ripple, Salt. All right, we'll take a look. Let's do this. All right, let's go from the bottom up here. Ripple. So let me zoom out here. This is Ripple Polo on the USD chart. And I mentioned this in my last stream that it's just been marching along, kind of following the trend. This is one of those, the trend is your friend. If you want to jump on this, you just keep your stop below this trend line somewhere, right? It's not too many points below. Versus BTC, just not the place to be. Ripple versus BTC last couple of days or last couple of months has been weak. I thought it was finding a low here, and it just hasn't. And I'm just, from a project perspective, I mean, Ripple, the company, yes, right, good company, good management, all that. The token, I'm just not a believer. So it was a good trade back here. Don't get me wrong, incredible trade. Check this out, though, man, Ripple. So if you weren't following Ripple when it did this little consolidation it had here equated to Ripple 3 cents. Then it took off, and this peak here equated to Ripple 43 cents or something like that. And at the time, and that's when Bitcoin was sub 2,000 or something. And then look at that. We're right back to where Ripple was when it was 3 cents. Now, I know it's not 3 cents anymore because this is based in Satoshi values and the price of Bitcoin is way higher. But man, it's given it all up. The entire move retraced. Tough if you're holding Ripple. I mean, if you're holding it from up here especially. So let's see here. Lumens. I'll get back to Lumens. Let me get to some of these other ones that you guys are doing. That's a good question. So I'm reading a question here. Isn't technical analysis just a self-fulfilling prophecies? Algorithms have wrecked technical analysis and use it against the retail traders for hunting stops. And does it work better for cryptos? And, there's certainly an aspect of that, because if enough people are watching a chart in a specific resistance level and a specific support, yeah, sometimes it is self-fulfilling. But technical analysis is, you know, the charts, the patterns you see on the charts, they're just a representation of buyer and seller psychology. And these are just points in the price where buyers and sellers are fighting it out. And up here, right, you had the big breakout and then the momentum and buyers coming in, no sellers showing up. And eventually the buyers get exhausted. The sellers overwhelm the buyers. And this was just a point, an inflection point where there was more sellers than buyers. And then as the price started to tumble, more sellers showed up and so forth. And as we get back up to it, the psychology is anybody who held through this whole thing is now looking at that point and they're saying, I'm break even, I'm selling. And very much that's what happens. And that's when you see the cup and handle pattern, right? So you'll see the big run up or sells off right below and then it pulls in, but then that was it. Sellers are exhausted and then we rally. And so you see that a lot. It's support, resistance, trend. That's all it is. It's just points in the price where buyers and sellers are showing up and they're fighting it out, because at the end of the day, that's what this is. This is like all markets, this is an auction system. There's the bids and there's the asks. And as the price starts to change, people will change their bid price and their ask price and so forth. That's all it is. So let's see here. Jamie Dimon here. No, he's not. So what else are we looking at? So we're wanting to see salt. Let's go over here. Let's go dark. Salt on the Binance, got more history there. What's going on with my charts? What's going on here? Let me set them up. Thought I already did. Don't know why it's not saving. All right. So, you know, we talked about this one last time. It was real tightening up here and just not ready yet. I thought it was ready to bust out here. Didn't have any follow through. It's kind of pulling in now, starting to break support. So if you're holding this, I'd keep a tight leash on this one, because if it starts to really break down versus BTC, you can see another leg down that'll take you down to around this level, maybe down to here. So keep it on this. If it breaks out above this, what is that, 47.5K level or so, it's really the level to be watching. But right now, it was a failed breakout attempt. That's what it was on the hourlies. Let's take a look at NAV. So NAV, man, that was a name from a while back that had that nice pump early in September. Pretty much gave up most of that move. I'm guessing if I did a fib on that, that's probably even below the 76 level. Let's see. Let's check it out. If you go to the extreme, yeah, you're below that. If you go to the body, yeah, you're still below it. So, you know, it's had these rally attempts. So near term, very short term, it definitely looks like it's trying to put in a blow here. This level has held for a good period now, a couple days, couple weeks. Let me highlight that for you. And if we zoom in on the 4 hour, that volume is, you know, it's showing some good signs, but we've seen these pumps in the past year where it's tried to rally, hasn't been able to. And here we did. We saw it again here just a couple days ago. Huge rally, big pump. A lot of sellers showed up here. You can see these long wicks. And that's okay if it holds, but it's just kind of starting to pull in a little bit. And this is it. This is kind of the support level. If this holds, this will be a good consolidation. This will be a very nice consolidation if it holds here, because this is where it needs to. But that's it. We're kind of at a key support level. Volume has been good on this downside, so not a lot of sell volume here, so it might be hard to see there, but that's a good sign. More green volume here on the upside, so not too bad. Wouldn't be complaining about this one here. Would I be trading this one? This would probably be more of a dip buy, in my opinion. I wouldn't wait for the breakout on this just because it tends to have these big wicks. So if you really like NAV, you're thinking it's a good buy, I would be buying it here and then just keeping a stop below this consolidation, because your risk is lower here. But you're doing a preemptive buy because you don't know that it's going to turn around, right? So it's kind of just guessing versus buying on an up move. So maybe you wait for this point here, but then where do you stop? Right down here, a little bit higher risk. So NAV, but it's trying to hold the lows. Could be one of these that maybe if Bitcoin turns around here, it's above the 10 EMA finally on the daily chart, holding it so far. So no complaining. It's doing okay, but it needs to hold here. Let's see here. What else? Power. I think power is still consolidating. So power, yeah, I had that big pump. I think you guys asked me about this one last time. I said, I think it's going to go down a little bit more, and it's still going. Didn't want to hold that support level. Really, the level I was watching on this one was right here. And broke below, still going. See where it goes here. It's kind of a no man's land now. If we look at RSIs, it's starting to get to the low levels here. A little bit oversold near term. I was looking for a bounce play earlier on this one. I thought we were going to bounce and maybe bounce into these resistance points, and it did have that like quick, let's go to the hours. So that 1 hour pump, and then it just kind of faded off, and actually we're now lower than that prior bar there. So not sure. It's trying to find a low here, but it's kind of like in the middle of the zone here. So I'd wait on this one until you start to see more upside strength. All right, let's see here. I'm going to read through some of these. Power was a good trade, though. Man, it's a good trade for this whole thing. And if you got in on the ICO, I mean, obviously you're doing good and you don't care about this, but man, you were up nicely for a while there. Oh, let's see here. Where can you buy salt? Well, you can get it on your Exodus wallets if you use that. Meaning you can also get it on Shapeshift Changelly, but you can also get it on Binance, Bittrex, and Liqui, for those of you that use Liqui. And so there's 3 exchanges to look at salt. Ethos, Power, Golem. Yeah, man, Golem. Golem's having a comeback moment. Reliving the glory days. Let's see, Golem. Let me go to Golem Polo. So yeah, a lot of these names from earlier this year are really pumping here. But just look at the chart on Golem. Like it's tried to bottom a few times. Finally going flat here. So let's see if maybe this is the blow. Maybe. Just possibly. Golem. Having a good trade though. Last couple days, no doubt. Hey, wait a minute. Let's go look at Bitcoin real quick. What's going on? You guys are distracting me. It's all right. 99, 19. Look at this. Coin market cap had it at 99.70. And that's because you've got Korea paying a premium. $10,533. You've got Japan, 10,000. Korea. So, technically it's over 10K. But I'm watching 10K over here on some of these exchanges. So it's not 10K yet. Pivx. Yeah, I was watching Pivx earlier. I was trying to have a move there. He was trying to have a move. That's 10x. Speaking of 10x, I'll come back to Pivx. Check this out here. So I was watching this one here too. This one, really the level to be watching. It's trying to break out now. It's like trying to set up. This is the key resistance point, but I don't think you really got to wait that long on 10x. It's trying to have a move here. Let me put the indicators back on here. Getting real tight. So if it starts to get some traction here above this 26K level. Could be an early indicator on this one. And then ultimately, if it breaks out, that's going to be the one to go. Man, my indicators are loading slow here. What's going on? There it goes. But on the daily chart, you can see it's putting in a good low here, trying to bottom. Bullish divergence on the RSI. You're seeing this starting to rise here, looking pretty good. MACD signal line is crossed over on the daily. So starting to build a little strength on the low here. No clear breakout or buy signals yet on 10X, but I think you should be watching it now. PIVX. PIVX tried. Look at that reversal bar. Come on, PIVX. So these are the two levels I'm watching here. The support level right around that 34.4 level and 40, and broke out, pulled right back in. If we zoom in a little bit, you can see that action. It's green bar, but man, that's a long wick. That's a lot of sellers showing up, and here we are starting to pull in again. So, but still consolidating, putting in a good tight action versus Bitcoin. I mean, just pretty much been par with Bitcoin the last couple of weeks. So, last couple of days. But yeah, between PIVX and Dash, man, Dash was clearly the place to be. Still pulling in here lately versus BTC, but that's just it's consolidating, holding tight. Watch that breakout on Dash here, see if we can bust out and get going again. Let's see here. We covered Decred, pulling in a little bit. These are the levels I'm watching for support area on the daily chart. I was talking about this. Couple key levels here, right? We broke out, hit that resistance line, pulling in right now. If you look at the Decred USD pair, it needed to rest. It was definitely getting overextended. And here we are, we're pulling in. Here's a 10 EMA right around 54.6, and this is the level where I have it highlighted. This is where you want to see Decred hold versus BTC and ultimately bust out above this trend line, and we can really see this one going. And so I'm pretty bullish on Decred right now. I'm liking it. I like the way it's setting up here on this low, and so we'll see where it goes. Decred USD broke out to new highs and pausing, consolidating. Good, healthy action so far. Nothing to be worried about. So Decred. Decred. All right, where are we at? So I'm seeing some requests for Mise Go and Neo, and I'll get to some of those. I covered some of those earlier. Let me get to a couple of these other names. So we talked Golem. We talked Decred. We talked 10X. Going through the comments here. We talked EOS earlier. I'll get back to it, though. Metal. So Metal was another one I'm looking for. Maybe a low. Now, Metal's just been woefully underperforming. Just look at that. Broke out. I think this was a sell and use event, wasn't that? When they came out with their wallet release or something, and then just it was done. And so far has been done and just start stepping its way down. So let me clear this other line. But again, like some of these other ones, it's trying to find a low here, trying to finally put in a little bit of a base, but it did that here too. It just couldn't break out. Had this weird one day pump on Bittrex, and I think they actually shut down the wallet for a bit. But here we are watching this one, starting to move higher a little bit on these indicators, trying to gain some momentum, but that 60, 61 level on the Satoshi, that's what I'm watching. If it can't get above that and really start showing some momentum, gotta wait for that breakout, in my opinion. But if it does, even if it just gets to the next level that we had on the charts there, that's 30% move on Metal. And the next real big resistance is going to be right around that 109 level, 110. But man, that's 79% higher from here. Even if you were just trading it, it wouldn't be a bad trade. Now, let's see here. Let's do a fib on the low, on the bounce. And so you can see 3.8 level would take you there, and 6.18. So kind of in the middle of the road. Metal pays me. So we covered Golem, Zen. Man, I should have bought some fireworks or something. I could have woke up all the neighbors with the 10K Bitcoin. So you can see my lines on the chart. I've been looking at the Zcash versus BTC. It's actually looking pretty interesting here. Been consolidating here right in the middle right now, but it's actually looking really good. Had that big pump. This was what, 100+% here earlier. What was that? 200%. And this is pretty wide and loose, but it's starting to tighten up a little bit. And so keep an eye on this one. I'm actually watching this one for a potential move out, but it's right in the middle. I'm not taking any action on this at the moment. A good alternative would be if it pulls right back to this support line again. That may be a place where I want to look at it. And then you can keep a pretty tight stop at that point. Tight, relatively speaking. This is a wide range right here. This is a 40% range. So right in the middle right now. Otherwise, you wait for it to start moving higher and look at it from that point. Let's see here. Lumens. Bitcoin forks. Oh man, we didn't talk about the Bitcoin forks. You've got Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Dark, Bitcoin Gold. You've got Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Silver, Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Node Investor Coin, Bitcoin. What other Bitcoin? Bitcoin. Man. Eventually, here's what's going to happen, right? You're going to have this cryptocurrency market cap, and it's going to just be like the top 10 coins are going to all be called Bitcoin. So sorry, Ethereum, sorry, Ripple, sorry, Litecoin. It's just going to be Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Silver, Bitcoin. It's kind of funny, actually. But, man, people are making money on it, so that's why the forks will continue for a little while. Forks are the new ICO. Why ICO when you can just fork? You'll have Bitcoin Core, and then you'll have Bcash. Actually, that's a good idea. You should just fork Bitcoin Cash and just call it Bcash. You have instant popularity. All right, let's see here. If you're watching this, like that damn video. Real crypto in the house. NEM. We haven't talked NEM. Let's take a look at NEM. Where we at, NEM? It's trying. NEM is another one too that's, man, just it has these big rally attempts and they just get faded. So it's trying though. One thing I'm watching is NEM here in the last couple of weeks or so starting to put in, maybe, don't want to get too excited, maybe putting in a little bit of a bullish divergence here. You can see the price trying to put in this little bit of a double low here, and we'll see. But it's one of those you don't it's hard to trust the breakout on here. Let me just put it that way, right? You saw this and you've seen it in times past. You saw these big breakout attempts. We saw it again here just yesterday or earlier today. But it's a pretty good project, and they're trying to do some more marketing and trying to get all that going. But right now it's not ready. It's trying. I think it's close. It's not ready yet. Waves. Did we do waves yet? I was watching waves here. I was thinking maybe we're going to start breaking out. It was looking really good a couple weeks ago, and just sitting tight right now versus Bitcoin. But I'm watching waves USD. That's kind of, a lot of these charts are doing this. The USD chart is really the one that's starting to set up versus Bitcoin. Yes, they're underperforming, so they're not ready yet. But just keep an eye on these here, because once these start to go, they really start to gain momentum. And we've seen this on a lot of these other ones here. And, you saw it on Dash, you saw it on Ethereum and all that. And you don't get that clear signal when you're looking at the Bitcoin chart necessarily. So, if you look, let me go over to Ethereum BTC, right? So, I mean, here's the daily Ethereum BTC. And yeah, we came off the lows and look, and this is a good reversal, but it was really hard to see the clear pattern on this versus when you're looking at this, right? And you see this and very defined trend line, and once it breaks and it puts in this cup and handle pattern, and boom. And so that's why, especially for some of the bigger names or the more popular names, I'll look at both. Have I claimed my Bitcoin diamond for my private keys? No, I have not. I didn't even do my Bitcoin gold for my private keys. I got gold from the exchange, and that's it. Let's see here. Come on, Bitcoin. We want to see. All right, we won't even do 10K. We'll just take $9,990. Let's do that. Come on, guys. Come on, man. How long have I been going anyway? What time is it? Real crypto in the house. What time is it, man? It's like midnight here. Some of you in the East Coast are like, come on, get on with it already. I need to wake up here in 2 hours. Correction confirmed. No, I don't know about that. So who panic sold Bitcoin right here when it went from 83 to 78 overnight? You got to watch the longer term charts on some of those. And, when you look at this, I mean, we're not crazy extended, but we're a little extended from the moving average. I mean, you look at that, we're a good 12%, 12, 13%. So it's 4:20 in Tokyo. You're fine. 6:20 in Australia. Oh, man, it's happy hour. Am I in California? No, I am in Arizona. Boston in the house. Lumens. Let's take a look at Stellar Lumens. So we check it out, the Lumen chart. This is Lumen BTC. It's been putting in this nice tight consolidation and technically it's broken out now. And so the levels that I was watching for the official breakout is right there. We broke out, pulling right back. So far, it's holding that breakout point. Volume was there, so pretty good. Not bad. If you look at Stellar USD, go to that here. You can just see it marching along here, just looking really good. And this was a nice little base that it put in here. And so the way you do these bases, right? I mean, you don't always need to wait for the clear breakouts. And you've seen me do that in a lot of these. So you can take these early signals. And when you see these resistance points here that have been just a key place that it didn't want to get above here, right? So it had this consolidation, tried, pulled right back in. When it starts to really tighten up in that little zone, when you see that move up, especially if there's volume, you can take it there, in my opinion. That's very often what I'll do is try to get in early on the move. And let's say you buy it here. I mean, your stop is, you gotta give it to at least where the moving average is. So that still would be a wide stop, but that's better than if you would have bought, say, the breakout, and then your stop's going to be a little bit bigger at that point. So a couple ways to do it, but you can get in early on the move. It helps. Stratis was one. Let's take a look at Stratis. So when I've been talking about Stratis here, Stratis BTC is looking pretty good here. Try to bottom out, but Stratis USD, again, another chart that's giving you a very defined declining resistance line that Stratis is now wanting to get above. And so far, it's been doing it. So you can see where those two levels of resistance broken here. This horizontal resistance, and that actually goes back a little bit further. So let me move that back. You can see it back here. A couple times it hit, put in this very big double bottom pattern, but also broke that declining trend resistance. So we're clearing all that, and volume patterns have been very nice on this. It's been accumulating. This big red bar was a big support bar, just kind of reversed here higher. And so I'm liking Stratis. Stratis is looking good here. Stratis BTC sitting real tight holding up, and that's why it's been going up here too, because it's been tracking the Bitcoin pretty well, and it's in this little tight zone here. And if it breaks out above that 57 level or so, 58, we're going to probably see another good leg up on Stratus. And so I'm liking this. I'm liking Stratus. Inverted double head and shoulders as well. Yeah, you got it. So, I mean, you're seeing double patterns on this. And so it's just setting up. It's looking good. Do I have a Telegram group or something where I share my trades? I do. I have a small group, and it is small. It's a Slack channel. And at this point, I'm offering it to the course buyers, and it's been filling up so far just with that audience. And I'm actually, it's a monthly thing, so I'll be opening that up here this week. And so I think I talked about it during my last live stream, and a few of you guys got in. A few of you. First rule about the Node Club: you don't talk about the Node Club. All right, let's see here. What are we doing? 98.47. All right, Bitcoin. That's it. I'm selling it. I'm selling all my Bitcoin. Going home. Taking my ball home. No more playing. All right, so here we go. It's holding up so far. Hitting the moving average, pulling in a little bit, but come on, guys. How late are we going to go? We're going to have a part 2 to this party. Part 3 to this party. Oh, man. Let's see here. Bitcoin Cash pump incoming. Really? Let's check it out. I was talking about Bitcoin Cash, and I'm definitely watching it. It's been sitting tight here, setting up a little bit, and kind of building this little range. Versus BTC, though, it's not there yet. But you got to keep an eye on this, because if Bitcoin does start to pull in, I think this will be one of the names that has a counter rally to that. So keep an eye on Bitcoin Cash. I mean, there's two ways to look at this. If it breaks above this first resistance level, which it broke down from earlier today, that may be an early signal. And if you want to wait for that trend line to be broken, that's where that green highlight area is. And that's what I'd be watching on the Bitcoin Cash, on the Dragon Slayer. Let's see here. What were we looking at next? Ethereum Dark. Ethereum Dark? All right, so instead of it being the top 10 of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Diamond, it's going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Just forks of everything. And Ethereum Classic. You got to keep Ethereum Classic on there. Man, have you guys seen Ethereum Classic, by the way? Anybody get in on that trade? Ethereum Classic. Still rocking it. Looking good. Gave you a nice little secondary entry point here. And then, bam, here we go. Very nice. Very good stuff. All right, EOS. Still going. So when does EOS testnet go live? I think that's December 4th. So you could see one of these buy the rumor, sell the news scenarios, unless it just turns out to be the most fabulous thing anybody's ever seen in their life. And then EOS just continues to rock it up. But I'm thinking that's going to be the period of time where you want to tighten the stops if you're on this train here. But EOS, been very nice. Early mover on, and just the volume on here is just tremendous. Good volume patterns. And so can't complain. EOS isn't bad. All right. Okay. Okay, I'll check it out. And if it has like the most ridiculous looking chart. Oh, it's on Cryptopia. Okay, no comment. What is this? Is this what you're screaming about? What's the volume on this thing? Oh, man. So this is putting in the rounded top, soon to be waterfall pattern. I don't know. I'm just kidding. There's really nothing to do here. This is crazy low volume name. You can tell just by looking at the charts, and there's not a lot of chart history here. So, and it's on Cryptopia. Cryptopia is like the dark web of exchanges. You can get anything you want there. You might even be able to pick up some Node coin on Cryptopia. All right, let's see here. You got some EOS. Good for you. Got me a little bit of EOS. Not as much as I should have, though, that's for sure. Oh, let's see here. So we talked to Litecoin. I'm looking for Litecoin to make some new highs here. It's already edging out against the old closing highs, and it's just continuing to march higher very nicely. And from my longer term positions, Ethereum had been my biggest position altcoin wise, but that's now Litecoin. And I'm thinking Litecoin's good. See, I don't know if it's it's already had a pretty decent move, but I think we're going higher. All right, let's see here. We talked metal. Neo, let's take another look at Neo. So Neo is taking the big picture look at Neo. It's been putting in this longer term support trend line here. And here we are about to test it again. And so let's see if this holds. Right now, that line's right around 37.7. We want to see that hold or maybe dip below and get back up. But look at where it paused last time, that upper line there. And so this pattern is getting real tight. I'm thinking it's going to resolve itself here pretty soon. But I'd like to see it. So this might actually be a good secondary entry if you want to pick it up on a dip. And at that point, you can just keep a real tight stop if you bite around here, just right below the line and maybe equal to this. That's kind of the approach I'd be taking. Otherwise, if it breaks down, you just want to get out of the way and maybe just wait for a clear breakout versus BTC. But if you look at Neo USD, it's still looking good. I mean, it's putting this long consolidation, had a big volume rally, pulling in, so far holding that 10 EMA and wanting to start edging higher. So this is what's leading me to believe Neo is going to hold that support line on the Bitcoin chart. We'll see. And we talked Omise Go. Now, Omise Go, the chart to look at again was the USD chart. It gave you that clear signal when it broke out above that 28.50 level and marching along nicely, holding par with BTC at least. And I'm thinking we'll start outperforming here soon. So if you look at the 1 hour chart of Omise Go, when it loads, you can see we're starting to really outperform here and breaking this little trend line I had here on the Omise Go charts and see what holds. But I'm liking Omise Go. Monero. I think we talked to Monero, but let's take a look at Monero. Yeah, Monero's good. Still going. And that was it. Like, look at this 1 hour chart of Monero gave you this really nice consolidation / pause. It had just been really strong on the daily. And that pause was just enough time to let these moving averages catch up. And here we go. Monero taking off again. Very nice. Just steady climber. Very good. Monero. You guys didn't get Monero? Come on, man. Let's see what else we got here. Doge. Power. I think Power's still pulling in. Talks about Power. It's kind of now in the middle of the zone there. Broke some resistance or support here just recently. And I'm thinking Power is a wait at this point. So nothing to do. Be gone. Zcash. Let's check out Zcash. Marching along very nicely and putting in a good pause here. Maybe setting up. Monero taking off. Dash pausing, Zcash, privacy coins. So keep an eye on this one. I've got a little bit of Zcash that I'm still holding, still doing pretty good. But man, Monero. And check out Dash. So Dash is doing a similar pause here. Where's Dash? Dash USD. Same thing. Nice little pause, holding, starts to break out above this. Could see 700 maybe? Maybe 700 Dash. Substratum. Yeah, it's a popular coin. Let's check it out. Let's check that one out. Smaller cap name. What's that one coming at these days? 100 mil maybe? So newer name for sure, but has had quite the rally here. And so finally pausing, giving you a good pullback, maybe setting up a good secondary entry on this one. You go to the daily chart here real quick. Where's that moving average? There you go. So look at where it's doing here. So sub had that nice rally, nice breakout. This was the old highs, cleared that. And moving average is now above that. Prior resistance, now new support zone. And here we are pulling back. And it's looking pretty good here. Now, this was a big reversal bar here, big red volume. You saw the price was as high as 4,300 or so and pulling back. So got to watch that, see if that doesn't end up being a big resistance zone, but looking pretty good here. So what you'd like to see on something like this is you're going to see this, and I'll show you like the SIS chart. It's doing something similar where you start to see these little pauses, pull back, maybe another test of this low here, and then start to round out. And that's kind of your early point, or if it gets to this level, you know, you pick it up along these points with a stop right around here, right below this recent consolidation. And these are the kind of secondary pullbacks. So when you're buying a secondary pullback, you don't need to wait for a breakout, because usually when you're waiting for a breakout, it's too late. You're getting in at the highs, right? You don't want to wait for new highs. You want to buy the dip, right? When you're buying a chart base, something like this, then yeah, you want to wait for the breakout signal. But then when it has a big run, the pullback to entries are just so much nicer. Keeps the risk reward ratio in your favor just because you can keep a tighter stop there. So yeah, not bad. So let me see here. Yeah, you can pay with BTC for my course. Unfortunately, it's not automated on the website anymore. I had to pause it because I had some issues. But I'm gonna get that back up. So meanwhile, you've got to email me. I know it's a pain in the butt, but I'll hook you up. And I've taken Ethereum, I've taken Litecoin, I've taken, what else have I been paid with? Somebody paid me in Neo. Somebody paid me in NEM one time. So yeah, it's all good. We'll do it. If you want to pay me in Bitcoin Cash, I'll take Bitcoin Cash. All right, let's see here. Will I take Doge? Oof, I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. 8x. What are they? I've been watching 8x here. Let's go to check that chart out. So here's what I'm looking at on this guy. I was looking at this downtrend. Watching this is really, there's nothing to do here, but it's sitting real tight, and I'm liking the pattern that 8x is starting to put in. This is a smaller cap name, and I've traded this one in the past, and it's done pretty good here, but look at this pattern that is really starting to put in. I think this is going to resolve itself here really soon, one way or the other. But if Bitcoin pulls in or the alts really get going, this is what I'm looking at. And so that little green zone here might be hard to see, but that's kind of the level I'm watching. I'm going to really wait for it to confirm the trend break before getting in on something like this. But that's kind of the level I'm looking at on 8x. So nothing to do yet, but it's on my watch list because I'm liking this potential pattern. But it could just break down and keep going, and there's nothing to do. Let's see what else we got here. What else do we need to go? Node, you need to go on tour. Yes, I do. Man, I really do. There's a couple tours I'm thinking about doing. I need to go on a YouTube tour, join some of your guys' channels, because I know a lot of you got some channels. And I need to go like on a meetup tour. Travel some of the locale here. Next time I'm out, Nashville, meet up again. San Diego, Denver, everywhere. Let's do some meetups. So what else are we looking at here? Someone was asking for Walton. I'll get to your coins. I'll get to these here. You got to put up with my rambling. Hold on here. Let's check the price of Bitcoin. 9909.90. At least it's above 99 again. So check it out, Walton coin here. We got, man, it's trying. It was really trying today. The crazy action. So this is actually, again, another good example of a potential you buy the dip after that crazy green bar, right? So you guys know me. Don't chase the bars. If you didn't get in early on this bar, don't buy this bar when it's already up 60% because you know it's going to pull back. So by the pullbacks, right? And look at where it's pausing right here. So this is an ideal secondary entry points. Pulls back right to that old resistance line. Hits the moving average. So far, so good. Holding it. And you kind of take a higher risk entry, but it's a quicker stop if you get it wrong versus if you buy up here, then you gotta live through more pain than you really want to. And so if you pick it up here, if it were me, if I was buying this one right here, I wouldn't give it more than 5% or so. This is trading. So if you're buying it long term, it's a different mentality, different style of approaching it. But this is it, right? And this is a smaller cap name that could really get going if it starts to gain some traction here. Where's Walton these days? Walton is living down at number, it's not that far down. Where's it at? Here we go. Number 58, $152 million market cap, $6.11. Walton had a good move up though. All right, let's see here. Someone's talking about Pivx. Is Pivx moving? I tried earlier. Pivx. Ooh, there it goes again. Pivx on the move. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call a breakout. So look at that, man. It had that early signal earlier and bam, Pivx said, that's it. Monero, Dash, Zcash. I'm tired of you guys showing me up. Bam. Pivx. All right, who bought Pivx? Jamie Dimon, was that you? See if it holds, guys. This is good. It's a good move. Break it out of this double bottom pattern here. Very nice. Very nice move on Pivx. So if we do just a straight technical move on this, my guess is it's going to run up to that resistance line here, but let's see where that takes us. Oh, man, look at that. Almost to the penny. I love it when a plan comes together. Oh, there you go. Pivx could go to this point or so, and we'll see where it goes from there. Pivx, buy it, buy it, chase it. Man, it's not bad. Crazy. All right, let me go through some of these comments because, man, I'm trying to keep up. We've got 600 people on the live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting for 10,000 Bitcoin, but we might see 10,000 Pivx before we see 10,000 Bitcoin. So let's just watch the Pivx chart instead. It's a lot more exciting than the Bitcoin. 99.10, at least we're above 9,900. And we'll get to some of these other ones. Hit that like button. And if you haven't already, for whatever reason, you need to subscribe. All right. What exchange is Walton coin on? Binance. Stratis or Waves? Stratis. I don't know. Waves is looking pretty good too, but today, Stratis. Let's see here. What else? He's asking about Raiden Network. Is there even any history on that one? It's probably not a whole lot to look at. What we got on this one? There's some history. It's not too bad, I guess. We got a little bit, but I mean, there's not a whole lot for me. I mean, if you go to the daily chart, there's nothing. And I know a lot of their technology is just it's concept at this point still. So if you like it, my opinion, this is more of a longer term hold, not a whole lot to trade off of yet. Not a lot of history. I mean, it's the momentum's there, but I think you'd be looking at something like this more for the longer term. Should I pull out of Monero? Why? I guess it depends on where you got in, but Monero is strong. I mean, if you want to take some profits, there's nothing wrong with selling into strength. In fact, I like to sell into strength, but it's not really overextended yet. So, and it just broke out today from a little bit of a base here. So Monero is, I'm liking Monero. Let's see here. 99.10. Bcash. Sorry, I didn't mean to say Bcash. I meant Bitcoin Cash. Don't call it Bcash. Call it Bitcoin Cash. How dare you insult me? Trying to hold that support line. Let's see here. You know, Bitcoin's Cash, Bcash, is really more the the horizontal zone is really what I'm looking at on this one here. So that $1,500 mark is really a key kind of psychological number that it was holding. So let's see if it can maintain that and start to break out. So Quantum. Looking at Quantum. Hold on, I got to look at Pivx here real quick. Pull it in. See, sometimes you got to go to the really short charts when you start doing these kind of moves. 15-minute bar. Let's see if it pauses around here, but wow. Pivx. Arc. Yeah, I like Arc. We'll definitely look at that one. Oh, I'm all about buying Bcash if it's pumping. Don't worry. I'm watching Bcash. In fact, I've been buying a little bit for the longer term holdings here, so I'm not against buying Bcash. Zcash, IOTA. What was the other one I was looking at here? Quantum. Distracted myself. The Pivx chart. So Quantum, so I was watching for a potential head and shoulders pattern here, inverted head and shoulders pattern. Didn't break out. That pattern has since been invalidated unless this out here becomes a new right shoulder, but not really the pattern I'm watching anymore. And so you just got to be watching for this resistance trend line break. Right now, it's tried. It's had these pumps earlier today. It was really trying, but not following through. And so keep an eye on it because I think once it gets going, it could really move quick. But I got to see that downtrend break first right now. So if you look at the 4-hour chart, that's really the one to be watching. 4-hour chart versus BTC. You can see this downtrend's getting pretty accelerated. So you like to see Quantum maybe go sideways here for a little bit and maybe potentially create a little pattern here that could base out and look for a breakout there, but not yet. It tried. I really thought I was going to get going today earlier. Had that nice volume breakout, but look at this. Did a year earlier and it's tried. But Quantum USD, like many of these others, breaking out, looking pretty good, actually sitting tight here, but this is a big reversal bar. Let's see here. So we talked ARC. Do 8 again. Yeah, let's take a look at that one. Look at that. Looking pretty good. So I've been watching this pattern here, setting up, see where I'm drawing the line there. That's really the level it really needs to start holding. It's trying, but in short, I like this one right here. It's been really strong, gave you that nice pump. If you missed that initial breakout yesterday, that was this level here, right? That was your first big breakout. If you missed that, didn't want to chase it, here's a good secondary entry, kind of pausing here, starting to edge higher. So it's looking pretty good. If you look at the 4-hour chart, it's just letting the moving average catch up here. Definitely strong. Higher in the market cap. So I'm not sure how much more it could go, but it's looking good. What's this one at now? Like $1 billion? Where are we at? $1.383 billion. It's higher than Quantum. It's higher than Omise Go. Man. All right. And it trades pretty good volume too. What else are we looking at? Ripple. We did Ripple. Probably not a whole lot to do there. Omise Go. I think we've done it a few times. I like Omise Go. I'm holding some Omise Go. It's still strong. Let me see here. No 10 tonight. You know, maybe not. We'll see. 99.30? I don't know. I don't know. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's coming. I can feel it. It's coming. 10K is on the horizon. Don't hang up now. Hit that like button. Can Omise get back to 02? Let's go check it out. Omise Go is pretty good. I think it can. I think it get some legs here. We can see $11 and then $13 are kind of the two levels I'm looking at. And I'll go to the BTC chart here, but let me zoom out a little bit. Omise Go, check it out, the USD chart. This was the level I was watching. This nice little consolidation I was putting in. Once it broke out above that 830, 840 level, that was it. Oh yeah, Funfair. That's the one I was watching earlier. I'll check that one out. But still marching along higher. I think it's going to pause a little bit, but just keep going. Versus BTC, it's just now starting to look pretty good, but the USD chart was really the one I was looking for the signals. But next level to be watching on this one is that $11 mark or so. I think that's going to be an area that was really a big wall. And if you guys remember when we were watching it back here, once it broke down, that's what I told you guys. I said, if it can't get back above that $11 mark, I'm not getting back on it. And it never really did. And it went all the way back down to $5 or $6. Started to finally pick some back up here, these levels, and it's looking good here. But $11, and then I think we can clear that. We might hit the old highs. Now, versus Bitcoin, it's got a longer ways to go to get to the old highs. I mean, if you look at the percent move on that, you know, that's going to be way up here, 192% above us, one day at a time. So I'm thinking the next level here is going to be that 11.8 mark, that 118 mark. That's going to be a first key resistance level, but that's a good 20% move from here. And then if we can get above that, you know, kind of stair stepping its way up another 50% from here. 02, you know, let's do a fib on this. I haven't done retracement on if it does the whole move, the bounce. Where does that take us? So there you go. 02 takes you just below that 618 level. And it's also a key resistance level here. You can see it. I was really where it's failed to break out. And so, yeah, it certainly could. I don't think it's going to get there right away. But, man, if it did, you're looking at a pretty much a double from here, basically. All right, let's do that one. And then we got to go look at Bitcoin. You never know. Bitcoin. So QSP also on the Binance. No history on the daily chart. I know it's very young chart-wise. And so, and just kind of making a series of lower lows and lower highs here so far. So you want to see that trend reverse here. If you look at the old, kind of the first IPO base, that's even considered a base. That's only like a day, but we're basically right there. So I know that's kind of hard to see, but you can see that's retrace that whole move sitting right there. So this is where you're going to want to see it hold tight. See if we can bounce off of there. All right, let's go take a look. 93.35. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to dump your Bitcoin. I'm kidding. Don't dump your Bitcoin. Nobody dumped their Bitcoin. Funfair. Yes, let's do Funfair. That was one I was watching earlier today. It was just kind of sitting tight. Did they finally burn all those coins? I think they did, right? So Funfair. So if you look at Funfair dollar first, right, it's right at 23 cents. And I'm liking this pattern. So it had that nice big run up, and it's just sitting real tight here, consolidating very nicely. Breakout above 25 cents. That's going to be your signal. And I'm thinking you're probably going to get it because this chart's looking pretty bullish here. So that's 10, 20%, 10, 12% move. But this is a very volatile chart. I mean, you can see normal moves on this are a little bit wide versus BTC. Pulling in a little bit here. So if I had to pick between the two, you got to go BTC still. But it's signaling that it wants to bottom out here, in my opinion. So looking at this one, we'll see if it can hold. But you got to wait maybe at least until it breaks above that 10 EMA and maybe gets back above 250 or even 260 Satoshi before you call it a good reversal. Let's see what else. Bitcoin Cash, is it continuing to dip? It is continuing to dip here. On the powerful, ever slowly inching up Bitcoin to 10K. Oh man, 10K Bitcoin. Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, are we going to see 10K tonight? Certainly possible. I'm going to say we are. I'm thinking we are. We better. It's 1 a.m. local time, Arizona. And you wonderful people are still with me. The 10K party. Let's just hope it's not another 5-hour live stream. Oh, man. Famous last words, right? Did I get on here and say, I'm not doing 5 hours? It's going to be an 8-hour live stream. Check out Stratis. Yeah, I like Stratis. So let's look at Stratis. Yeah, I remember that. Remember we were looking at $100 billion market cap. I even had a contest once we got close to it. Name the date. When were we hitting 100 billion? And I gave away some Litecoin. If you still have that Litecoin I gave you, it is now worth what, 2 or 3 times? No, 3 or 4 times as much when I gave that Litecoin away. Good stuff. Good times. Pound that like button, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's check it out. So I'm liking Stratus, just so you guys know. I'm watching this one. Here's the thing I'm watching on this one. Stratus USD. This is the long trend that I've been watching on this one. And I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I'm hoping you're getting the point, right? Because you got to look at both of these. And once it breaks that downtrend, the momentum tends to shift because that was a key resistance point. And it broke too. It broke the horizontal resistance level and it's breaking the downtrend resistance level. And so I'm liking Stratus. Now versus the Bitcoin chart, it's sitting real tight. It's in this range here. It's trying to put in the higher lows. And this is really the level. If you see it break out above that, we can really see Stratus have another leg up. And, you know, the next big obvious resistance level is going to be 86 mark or so. If it could get that high, even from the breakout point, That's a 50% move on Stratus. And so you see that, then you're talking, $7-8 Stratus, and that's very doable on this chart. And the old highs on the USD were here at 12. And so that's a double from here if we can even test the old highs, $10 or whatever, 10, $11. So the long story is, I like Stratus. I think it's finally found a low. Finally, man, I think you guys are asking me if Stratus hit its low since, where was that? I mean, since like July, we've been talking Stratus, maybe bottoming, maybe bottoming, maybe bottom. No. And here we are. I think it's bottomed. I think we're good to go on Stratus. Hey, Pivx. What's going on here, Pivx? All right. Who's wishing they bought Pivx? All right, so when you see Pivx hit right there, take some profits, okay? That's not financial advice. That's my opinion. This video is for educational purposes only and maybe some entertainment. So let's see what else we got going on here. Where's Bitcoin? 99.29, 99.30. It's going. It's going. I need some of those shorts to start covering, cause a little short cover and rally, and then we'll see what happens. So let's say Zcash breaks out. How do you know where to get out? So there's two things I look at. So there's actually a video I did on selling strategies. And I'll give you the summary version on that, but I just want to point this out. So let me see where it's at. It's probably way back here. No. All right, it's going to be on the YouTube channel. You're going to go find the selling strategies. I did 2 live streams, covered some selling strategies. You can only watch the first like 15 minutes of it. The rest is just answering Q&A, doing charts and stuff. But when something breaks out, there's a couple of ways to do it. If it's below an old high, then that's your first resistance point. You can look at that as a potential profit zone. You can also do a measured move. And so by that, I mean, let's say it's a head and shoulders or a double bottom. Then you can say, where would the technical measurement take it to, and see if that's a potential sell zone. And then if that correlates with the resistance point and it correlates with a bunch of other things, then usually that's a pause point at least. But when it hits new highs, it's really hard to say where you sell it. At that point, I mean, yeah, you can do Fibonacci extensions and look at that. But at that point, I'm basing my decision on price volume action. And so I'm watching for the kind of the climactic move that's going to set up a pause, and maybe you take some profits there and then wait for a pullback. And so a good example of that recently was like Dash, right? So if you were in Dash and you saw this move and all of a sudden it just gives you the big one-day pump that takes it up, $100 plus, especially on a high volume, then maybe that's a place to pause and take some profits and secondary entry here. And especially if you see these moves at the end of a big run. So if it's going up, and then it just kind of has that blow off, usually, I mean, at best, it's going to sit tight for a while. So that's what I look at there. I'd be looking at something like that. Looking at RSI levels, if it starts to get to the really extreme, like here it was at 87, those are other indicators that kind of giving you some warning flags that maybe it's time to tighten up the stops, at least, even if you don't take profits. So Zcash, it's not near the old highs, or not at the old highs yet. The old highs being, just above $400, but we're getting pretty close. It's marching along nicely. There's no sell signals on Zcash yet, if you're asking. So it's looking pretty good. All right, so let's see what else we got going on. How do you know when to sell Pivx? Well, let's look at Pivx again. So there's a couple points I pointed out here. This resistance line, if it breaks above that, then you're looking at these old resistance points. But you know what? It's kind of hard to say when the momentum gets going. Are you going to see one of these type of moves, right, where it just goes crazy for a couple of days? At at that point, you're just kind of watching it and seeing where it goes. If it hits new highs, right, that's all bets are off. There's just really no telling how high it could go. We're not there yet on this versus BTC. And I'm thinking this will be a pause point here, in my opinion, but we'll see where it goes. It's crazy volume. Good stuff. Let's see, IOTA. Come on, Bitcoin. 99.16. And we are going to have another epic live stream. Maybe we'll see 10K tonight. So let's look at a couple others here. Let's go to Ubic. See what we got. I haven't looked at this one in a while. Man, Ubic. I know a lot of you guys are real bullish on Ubic. I actually had some Ubic for a while there. I haven't traded this one in a while. Let's see what Ubic looks like here. So looking at the daily chart, I mean, it's trying to hold tight here. Trying to sit tight. If you go to the 4-hour, man, this is a really tight pattern. Very nice. So the way I like to play these, when I'm looking at something that's catching my attention like this, I don't usually just make a preemptive buy, but I wait for a signal. And a lot of times, like you see tonight on PIVX, I'll throw a conditional order out there. And so the way that works is if it breaks above a certain point, I'll put a trigger price, and then I'll put some sort of limit max price I'm willing to pay for it if it breaks out. Wrong one. Let me do this real quick. And so that's how I'd be doing this, something like this. It's right in the middle of the zone right now. There's just really no way to tell which way it's going to go. It could go up. It could go down. It's sitting real tight. Let's try to accumulate here. It's looking pretty good here in the near term. But on these, I just wait. I just like to wait for the breakout, because once they're this tight, they can really get some momentum until they get, once they get going. So yeah, you might miss the initial 5-10% move, but if it's going to be a good move, that doesn't even matter, right? I mean, if you're going to miss the first 6-7%, like, who cares? It could just do a PIVX. And we've seen that. Sorry, we saw that in ADA, Cardano the other day, right? Yeah, you missed the initial move, but if you catch this, that's 60%, and you've seen that kind of happen a lot. So 10K. So what are you guys doing with your Bitcoin when it hits 10,000? Are you guys going to buy? Are you going to sell? Are you going to hodl? Are you going to hit that button, advanced hodl technology? Let's see here. 10,000. So we looked at the exchanges, some of the other ones, it did hit 10,000. It's over 10,000. There's a premium like in Korea, for example. You're selling 20%. You're going to dump the hell out of your wallet. You moved into Tether now. All right. You said, that's it. Taking profits. And it is starting to feel a little extended here. No doubt. But we said that at 7 and at 8 and at 9. And we're saying it at 10. Yeah, when it's new highs, though, man, there's just no telling. There is no telling. All right. 97.35. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Oh, everybody's panicking. Shorts are celebrating. I really was hoping we'd hit that 10K mark today. So I'm dumping all my Bitcoin. I'm going to go buy some alts. Let's see what we got here. So watching ARC, taking a look at that. 8X, another one here, pulling in a little bit. ADA. There's panic in the streets. Bitcoin is pulled back about 0.5%. Oh, no, I'm wrong. 0.73%. What else we got? Bitcoin gold. Nothing. Dash. Who's shorting? I'm not shorting. But a lot of people are shorting. If you look at this chart, look at all these shorts piling in. Oh, man. They got to buy eventually to cover those shorts. Yep. Let's see here. Thailand. So that's a good question. So if I had to choose to invest now, what would it be? It would be an altcoin. It wouldn't be even Bitcoin. Normally I say buy some Bitcoin, but if it had to be like today, I wouldn't buy Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin. I'm bullish Bitcoin long term, but I just think percent wise, there's a bunch of other altcoins that I'm looking at here that are setting up, are looking good, and that I've actually been in my longer term portfolio transitioning out of Bitcoin on some of these into those names, right? Um, 2 weeks ago, I would have probably told you Ethereum or Litecoin. That's probably run it. I wouldn't say it's run its course. I mean, it's gonna. I think it's gonna go higher, but it's had a good move. What would it be if I had to do it today? Oh man, there's so many good choices. It's so hard to pick. Do I have to just pick one? I mean, if I had to just pick one and like not sell it, it'd probably be one of the others. If it wasn't Bitcoin, it'd probably be like Ethereum or Litecoin or maybe Dash. Neo, still hopeful on Neo, so maybe that would be one I'd be looking at. Omise Go is looking pretty good. Some of the smaller names I was talking about, Stratis, Arc, Waves, they're setting up pretty good here. Zcash. Zcash. It's Neo. Okay, everybody, it's Neo. I don't know. It's probably not Neo. If I had to buy just one here, that's such a hard choice. Let's see what's going on here. If I had to buy one, it's Bitcoin. Everybody knows that's the one you got to buy. Come on, Bitcoin. Oh, man. I should have bought the dip. Look at that. Bitcoin. It had to dip one more time just to freak everybody out, and then we're off to the races. Bcash. Yeah, that's it. If I had to buy one coin, it'd be Bcash. Only because I like the name Bcash. No, it wouldn't be Bcash. Although I do think Bcash has the potential. ETH, maybe. I'm holding some ETH. Definitely holding some. Good altcoins to day trade and scalp right now. Some of these names I mentioned. Don't offend me, Bcash. Some of these names I've mentioned right now, I mean, they're some of the smaller names. So, like, if you want to do like the quick moves, like Pivx just did, those are the ones to be looking at, right? So, looking for those setups. 8x, maybe this Cardano one. This is not a small cap name, but sitting pretty tight here. Looking for 8x to break the downtrend. Otherwise, if you just want to jump on the momentum and scalp moves, then you go for something that's moving high, right? So like a Monero or a Ethereum Classic, right? Where they're pumping pretty good here. Let's pull up that chart. Giving you these secondary entries and you can get those little moves, and they're not so little. I mean, this move was 15%, and this move is 12%. So very nice. EOS was another one that was giving you those. Kind of pulling in a little bit here. Do I have all my savings in crypto right now? I don't. There are days when I wish I did. And then when it crashes, I'm glad I don't. So it's just one of those. Let's see here. Decred pulling in a little bit still here. But I'm liking this. I'm watching this one, guys. Decred. There's a zone I'm watching. See if it holds. Maybe, just maybe, Ethereum gets to 500 before Bitcoin hits 10K. Maybe. Golem. Everybody forgot about Golem. Yeah, Golem's been pretty good here. It's been pumping the last couple days. Golem looking strong. Okay, let's go take a look at Pivx. Pulling in. Sitting tight. That was it. That was it. The move's over. Profit taken. Sis. That's another one that's been sitting pretty tight here. Oh, look at that. It's breaking below. Breaking below that trend. How low will it go? Syscoin. Let's even hold that line. Ubic. We talked Ubic. Vertcoin. Nobody's asked me about Vertcoin. Unbelievable. I thought that was like one of the most popular coins these days here. Vertcoin. So let's take a look at Vertcoin here. You can tell I've been watching this one. Had that crazy one-day pump the other day. It's kind of just still consolidating here. Sitting tight. I know there's a lot of bullishness out on Vertcoin. Everyone's asking Vertcoin. Okay, you guys are all asking about Vertcoin. I've just been ignoring you. Oh, man. Let's talk Vertcoin. So it's still consolidating. If you look at, versus BTC, right, it's just like a lot of these alts pulling in right now, but definitely want to keep an eye on because these things move pretty quick, and I think it's going to have another leg up. It's pulling in pretty good. Maybe found a low here. You can see that support line has held several times. That's a solid line there. And so that's going to be the line it really needs to hold. Let me delete some of this other stuff here. These are kind of just intermediate resistance points. And something like this, you don't need to wait for the clean breakout per se. And more often than not, I'd rather just watch like a declining trend line or something to see where it's moving and take an early signal when it starts to get out. And that's how you want to look at those. But Vertcoin, still holding up, kind of consolidating still. Nothing due yet, in my opinion. Ethereum 3,000 by June. Man, can you imagine? What else we got going on here? Metal is another one I'm watching for potential breakout there. Monaco Visa, how's that doing? Looking like it might want to edge out here. Just maybe. It's trying. It really is. Litecoin. All right, where we got here, ladies and gentlemen? Who's with me? I know we got some local folks in the house. We had Boston at one point. We have Thailand, California. Got a lot of folks in the house here. Vertcoin is so October. Right? Norway. Sydney in the house. Got some of my group in the house here. What's up, guys? Still Boston. Hanging tight. Alaska. Man, I've never been to Alaska. Toronto, Korea. Thailand. Alabama. Seattle. Man, I thought I was going to go to Seattle here next week. I might not, so no meetup in Seattle yet. Aussies. We got Aussies, Philippines, Germany, Utah. China, San Diego. I got to get out there. Norway, Austria, France. All my European friends are in the house. My poor European friends. Every time I do a live stream, it's like Middle of the night your time. You finally catch a break here. Planet Earth in the house. Texas. Don't mess with Texas. Bittrex is slow. Yeah, it's been off and on lately. Tokyo, right on. France, Finland, the West Indies, more Germany, Berlin in the house, New Zealand, Japan, Nebraska. I've never been to Nebraska. Got to get out there someday. Oregon, Pakistan, Japan, Tel Aviv, right. London, Los Angeles. Man, we got a good crew here. Even Mars is in the house. Very nice. My Canadian friends. India, Denver still with me. North Pole. South Pole. Switzerland. Vancouver. Africa. Man, I do have a lot of African viewers. South Africa. Nigeria. All right. My neighbors. We had Real Crypto in the house. He's kind of my neighbor. He's pretty close. All right, let's see here. Let's take a look at these charts. Where is Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen? Bitcoin is just not cooperating. Not wanting to do it. We thought it was. We really did. What platform can I use to trade cryptocurrencies and metals? You could probably do it on TradingView. Hook up your APIs. TradingView does everything. Stocks, Forex, crypto. Well, I mean, they're not an exchange, but you can tie it in. So let's see. What else do you guys want to talk about? Any questions on trading, investing, philosophy, the Bitcoin market cap, the cryptocurrency market cap? $300 billion. How high is this thing going to go this year? Man. So TradingView, man, did you guys get in on this deal? They were having a really good deal. If you missed it, you missed it. So if you don't already have TradingView, they were offering like a 60% off Black Friday. I think it's gone. I think it ended today. You missed it. That was a pretty good deal, I think. But as far as the prices go, man, I can't even remember. I think I paid like $100 for 6 months on Coinigy and TradingView. I think it was like 150 or something like that. So they were pretty close. I've got both. I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I'm like Coinigy a lot, and then other times I'm TradingView. Lately, I've been TradingView. So I like them both. And, you know, if you're really doing this and if you're serious about this, I mean, TradingView gives you the free, and it's great that they offer a lot for free. But if you're really doing this, I think it's worth the investment. I mean, you just pay the money, buy it for the year or whatever. And I mean, you get a lot. You don't need to buy like the most advanced package, I don't think. It's just, I think it's more than you really need. They've got a lot of indicators already. You can do multiple watch lists and multiple presets and all that fun stuff. And I think you can do up to 5 or something. So just buy it. Just do it. Spend a little money. What else do I got here? Do I follow Tone Vase and Jimmy's song? I wouldn't say I follow them. I check in on them from time to time. Once in a while. Like when he called the top for the year at $7,500. Smart guys, though. Definitely smart guys. Asian dumps while the US sleeps and the US pumps while Asia sleeps. No kidding. Every time I wake up, it's like, man, just went up or went down. Oh, that's a good question from my friend Brandon. What's your favorite potato chip? My favorite potato chip? You know what I really like lately? Man, I can just eat a whole bag in one sitting. Those kettle cooked jalapeno chips. Oh man, those are so good. I'm kind of craving some of those right now. I'm gonna call some Uber Eats and be like, hook it up. Bring me some potato chips and some pizza, maybe a 6-pack of beer or something. This thing's going. How long have I been trading crypto? Um, trading, like actively trading crypto, probably. I mean, it started a couple years ago, but I'd say trading it maybe just a year and a half. I was mostly focused on stocks for the several years before that and precious metals before that. And so futures and options and other fun stuff, but I don't really do a whole lot of stocks these days. Most of my focus, no, not most, 99.9% of my focus is crypto right now. That's where it's at. That's where it's exciting. Bitcoin. Trying to pause. Let's see what else we got. Jalapeno confirmed. Seriously, though, they're so good. Could use some right now. What else do I think have the most potential? And so, here's what I like to look at. So we've got the big caps, right? And so from a institutional perspective, I mean, they're going to buy Bitcoin. They're going to buy Ethereum and some of these other big names, right? The hedge funds, they're going to be looking for liquidity. And so what you want to look at is what's the big volume names? And it's all the names we're familiar with, right? Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, and so forth. But from a potential perspective, what I like to see is this little zone right here, the sub-billion-dollar down to like the 150, maybe 200 billion or million level. This is kind of it's matured enough, right? It's kind of come up the road already. It's not a 60 million or whatever, but once it starts hitting that 100 million, 200 million, those are the ones I really start watching because there's enough volume there and enough market cap there. You can get enough big money coming in, but it's still small enough or has potential. So like a Civic, for example, would not be unusual or even unreasonable to see something like Civic double, right? Or something like, where's the other ones here? We're talking even gas, right? I mean, gas could go up substantially here. We just saw Pivx, and some of the other names that I'm watching are in this $200-300 million mark. Decred, Arc, Stratus, and yeah, they're up there. But I mean, this 350 could very quickly become 500 or even 600, and so that's what I'm looking at. And that, from a percent basis, that's huge, right? So that'd be like Bitcoin going from 9,000 to 17,000 or something. I mean, that's just to give you some perspective. So those are the ones I'm looking at. Those are the ones I'm liking for longer term potential. But from a risk perspective, like a portfolio stability, if you're a long-term holder, you got to have these. You got to include some of these. And they're going to still give you a good return, especially when you think of traditional investments. I mean, hell, stock market's fabulous year if it's up 20%, right? And we just saw Ethereum give us 40 some percent in the last month. So even the big names can move. And if you're not happy with 40% in a month, then I don't know what to say. Then you got to buy margin. No, I don't do margin. Let's see here. Do I think the market's going to correct when we hit 10K? You know, it's kind of hard to say. Um, Part of me says, yeah, we're going to see it. It's kind of a big psychological mark. Might see some profit taking, but I'm kind of leaning more towards it pauses, maybe stabilizes, bounces back and forth for a while, and alts start to pump. That's really what I'm looking for, is versus the BTC chart. Some of these the ones that I'm looking at here, will they start to break out? And for the alts, there's nothing better than BTC just sitting tight for weeks, right? Also just run. They'd be super bullish. Now, if Bitcoin really starts to pull in and has a big correction, I think it will be spilling over into the alts eventually. We might see a temporary couple days run, but if it gets very bearish, the alts will feel that too. So, but I'm thinking the latter. I'm thinking we're going to see the alt party really start to take off here. We're seeing it already. I mean, there's just look at the last couple weeks. Man, we've had some good alt runs. Very nice alt runs. IOTA's being dumped. Let's take a look at IOTA. Some profit taking coming in on IOTA. Let's see what it looks like on the daily chart. I think I started the live stream by saying IOTA's a little extended, but that's a pretty big reversal bar so far. But I mean, look at the 10 EMAs all the way down to 88 cents, 89 cents. So it could continue to pull back. Okay, let's see here. What I think alts would go down in a blow off top. Man, that's a good question. You know, it seems like that's starting to change a little bit, but the last 2 months, every time Bitcoin has a really big rally, you still see the alts take a hit. Not all of them. There's been a handful of names that have at least kept par, but it's still not across the board. I think we're getting there though. Monero, another one that's been wonderful. Monero's looking good. I mean, just look how steady that's been climbing. Monero, Zcash. Some of these have been very good names to just be holding. What are the other ones? Did we look at Augur? We didn't look at Augur. Might be setting up for another run here. It's looking pretty good, actually. Versus BTC. Oh, man, that was a crazy trade. It was almost comical. I literally said, I'm picking up some Augur here. Wham! Up 90%. Well, what's there left to do but sell it? Wow, what a pump. Not bad. See what else we got here. Pay. Yeah, I'm watching that one too. I like that one. 10x. Showing some life here. Doing pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I'm liking 10x. I got to check something. I had an order, condition order on 10x. Let me see what my level was. What was my level? 27K is kind of what I was looking at. So we'll see if it gets there. Not bad. Not bad at all. Seattle in the house. Which coin would I find sheltered in a scenario where BTC USD crashes? You know, that's a good question, and I get that a lot. And so you have two alternatives, right? If you don't want to trust USD Tether, and there's certainly some understandable arguments for that, then you have to pick a coin. And here's my scenario, right? If BTC crashes, like really crashes, I don't think there's going to be a coin to find shelter in that's going to really hold up. You might see it temporarily, but I think if it gets very bearish, you're going to see some profit taken in the alts too. The one exception, maybe, would be Bitcoin Cash. But I don't know if that would be my go-to coin right away, but that might be it. Other than that, some of the big names certainly would do okay, maybe, right? But I don't know if they're going to outperform Bitcoin if it starts to crash, right? Ethereum or Litecoin or even Ripple. I mean, who knows? I think it would spill over. Yeah, Bitcoin's kind of the reserve currency. 89, 93, and 90 cents. We're still below. 9,900. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. But guys, I mean, just looking back at this year, has been an amazing year. Here we are, kind of winding up the year. Not really. We still got a month to go, and in crypto land, that's a long time. But wow, 2017 has been the year of crypto. If you look at this, January, we started sub $1,000 on Bitcoin, and we have had leg after leg. And this is really when it started to get fun, was in that April, May timeframe. The alts really took off. And yeah, Bitcoin went up, 150%. And that was fabulous. But you had some other huge moves there. You had Ethereum between April go up 756% between April and June. Oh, Ethereum. What a beautiful move that was. And we had some other names. Golem. Digibyte. Remember Digibyte? I know a lot of you guys still hold Digibyte. Let's go take a look at that chart. Altcoin. Let's go to the daily chart. Oh, look at that wonderful move. What was that? Between April, and I mean, it wasn't even on the radar there. You got to go from May. 1,200%. There were some amazing moves in those 2 months. And we'll see if it happens again. But it's been a crazy year. The year of crypto. 2018 should be interesting. There's Litecoin. Holding tight around 90 bucks. So we talk fun. Somebody's asking about fun. Keep an eye on the fun. Metaverse. Still living below the moving average. IOTA. Pivx. What's Pivx doing? Well, it's pulled in quite a bit there. Vert. Waves. Bitcoin Cash. Is it holding up? Holding up so far. Oh, yeah, next. You guys are asking me about next. Let's take a look at that one. Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, this was a nice secondary entry here. Give you a couple days ago and break it out today, pulling back in, right that moving average. Look at that. Holding tight on this support / resistance level so far, so not bad. And I know it's getting a lot of volume here lately. Coming off the lows, looking very strong off the lows here. Big volume, huge accumulation. Starting temporarily to get a little extended. Maybe pause a little bit more here, but man, how big of a move has that been off the lows? 170%. It's pretty good. This is a name that's been around for a while too. Next. ARK. Getting pretty tight there. Watching that ARK. Bitcoin Gold. What's my opinion on Bitcoin Gold? I think it's setting up pretty good from a trading perspective. Might be breaking out this level I'm looking at here. As far as the project itself, and I'm not sure. I know the whole GPU mining thing has its appeal, but it's really it at this point for me on Bitcoin and gold. Is just really more watching it from that perspective, and it's holding up pretty well actually. It's kind of sitting up tight here, and I think it gets some momentum if it really starts to break out here. Let's see what else we got here. Civic. Civic had some potential there. I'm thinking they'll gain some traction here, but let's go. We'll take a look at that chart. So what am I looking at? Oh, all right. Just thinking of another chart while I was looking at this chart. Confused me. So, I'm not really liking this little almost head and shoulder type of pattern here. Looking like it wants to go lower, in my opinion. On the 4-hour chart, though, it's a little bit tighter. If you zoom out, but I don't know. Daily, not enough history to really do anything with this one. Pretty volatile, but this was some big profit-taking areas right in here. So, seeing some more downside. Nebulio. People still buying that thing up? Utopia, Nebulio. Still correcting. Pulling in, just kind of stair-stepping its way down, living below that moving average. So the trend is not your friend. BTC losing some strength here. See what it looks like. Yeah, a lot of these coins are kind of pulling in here. They're saying no. Bitcoin 10K. Ooh, Syscoin really breaking below that trend here. Let's see if it holds this line. Omise Go. It's not that big of a deal. If you look at the 4-hour chart, it is really the one to be watching, right? It pulls in, but it's kind of just stair-stepping so far. And if that really starts to break down, then you worry. But so far, not too bad. Now, Go versus BTC. Hold on, let me clear that. Got a big old fib retrace. There we go. Tucking back in below that trend line. Let's see if it holds here. A little bit of a little double top type of thing here, so we'll see. Metaverse. Let's take a look at that one. Where'd it go? I know I had it here. Yeah, so this one was doing pretty good here, and man, had that big run earlier in the year, a couple months ago, last month. Felt like forever ago, right? But just after that breakdown, it's just kind of been grinding its way lower. This is versus Bitcoin, of course, but it's right at a key low point it's held here for most of November, basically. So we'll see if it can start bouncing off this, but right now it's not looking particularly strong yet versus Bitcoin, at least. So a lot of these, when you're looking at the BTC chart, right, they're kind of doing this just because Bitcoin has been crazy strong this month. How much did Bitcoin go up this much this month here? If we go to November, the start of November, Bitcoin was 60, let's just call it $6,400. And we ran that right up to 7,900, which that was exciting. Then the big break, which that was crazy. And since then, bam, here we are, up 54% in 1 month. That's incredible, guys. Bitcoin. So why it's getting so much attention? It's gone up thousands of dollars in the last month. I mean, when you think about that, and I know not from a percentage basis, which is why I look at the log charts, but when you think about that, Bitcoin went from 6,000 to almost 10,000. Even if you go from 6 to 9 in a month, that's as much as it went from January up until May or June. It's incredible. And then from that point up until November. So let's see. Let's check it out. Metal. So we covered metal. And I'm watching metal for a potential breakout here. It's just kind of sitting tight. Now, it hasn't shown a lot of strength. It's been very weak compared to most of these other names. But I'm thinking maybe it's finding a low here. Just maybe. And that's the level I'm watching on metal. But there's no action yet, in my opinion. You got to really wait for this thing to move out. So if you look at the 4-hour chart, it's actually sitting pretty tight here. And I'm watching this because I'm thinking we're going to see a move out. But I'm not taking any action yet. That's a good question. So I've mentioned stock trading in the past, and do I see any difference between stocks and crypto trading from a technical analysis perspective? Yes, there is from a granularity perspective, and this is a good example, right? So in stocks, when you see a lot of these long wicks, generally speaking, there's a big reversal after those. Those are just kind of big tops, and they sell off. And in crypto, just because things are just so volatile, we see those a lot, and you kind of have to discount them a little bit. But then you see this craziness, right? Just these out of control things. So it makes for the candlestick reading a little bit different from a patterns perspective. There's a lot of similarities. You still get cup handles and double tops and double bottoms and a lot of that stuff, but the time frames are incredibly different. Generally speaking, on a stock, I mean, the patterns are weeks in the making and slower and all that, and it just takes longer to build up. And in crypto, we're looking at 4-hour charts and 1-hour charts, and a lot can happen between one day. So just the time frame is just so much more accelerated. And then, of course, you get gaps in stocks, which you don't get in crypto because we're 24/7. We never sleep in crypto. Stocks, you get gaps all over the place. Let's see here. What's going on? Stratus. So we covered Stratus, but I like Stratus. And I'm looking at this USD breakout, still moving up pretty good versus BTC. In this little bit of a range right here. And really what I'm looking for is, can it break out above this, right? That 56, 57 level, let's call it. And watching for that. But versus the USD, the signal's there. I think it's already breaking out, and I'm liking this. Come on, Bitcoin. Where's FOMO Mike? He's probably sleeping. He probably said, see ya. Sent him a message earlier. I was like, what's going on, man? Get on this live stream. Let's see here. What else? Bitcoin Cash, still sitting tight. Trying to hold. Mark. I'm watching this one too, 8x. That daily chart's getting pretty tight. We're going to see a move one way or the other here pretty soon. Keep an eye on that one. Civic. That's one I was talking about earlier. I'll do Lisk next. I'll do Lisk next. That's hard. Say that 10 times fast. So look at that Civic. You know, it's still not there. I mean, it's tried, but it's just continues to just grind lower slowly. I keep thinking it's hit a low, and maybe it has finally here, but definitely not one of the stronger names out there. And I mean, look at this. Let me fix my chart here. But it's, I mean, it's already below the, I guess you'd call it the ICO, or not the ICO low, but the debut, exchange debut lows. We're right below that already, so not one of the stronger names. Lisk. Let's see here. So Lisk was one of those that was having a really big run. Was looking super strong here and very nice. This big reversal bar, that was kind of your red flag that it was due for a pause at least. Be careful if you didn't already take profits or whatever. And it actually held up very nicely here. But what I was looking at was this little range it was sitting in. It was sitting tight. Couldn't break above that wall, but holding this lower support. And once it broke down, it's kind of just drifting lower now. So if you're still holding it, we're kind of just in no man's land now, right in the middle of the zone. Let's see if that's a fib level anywhere. I don't think it is. Oh, you're right at the 786 level. It's got to hold here. Really does. And I know some of that was on news. They delayed some of the development and so forth. But man, it was strong for a good couple of weeks there. Yeah, they delayed some stuff, and I know that kind of took some of the momentum away. 2:51 a.m. Wisconsin time. Ladies and gentlemen, you are live with the Node Investor here. We were doing a 10K party. I say were because I don't know. I don't know about this. It's going to wait. 10K is going to wait. As soon as I take this offline, I'm going to say, we're done. Boom. It's going to break out. Live with the Node Investor. Hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. What's Ethereum doing these days? $477. Trying to hold support here. Kind of drifting a little lower here versus Bitcoin, huh? Just pausing up there. So that's what's happening, right? You saw Ethereum had that nice run up. Bitcoin was sitting tight most of last week. And then Ethereum sitting tight now. Bitcoin had that run once it broke out above 83, 84. And you're seeing the counter trend here. So just pulling in. USD chart looks just fine. Similar thing on Litecoin. Litecoin BTC actually kind of sitting tight here pretty good. I really was hoping to see 500 Ethereum soon. Come on, man. Litecoin moving along nicely. Let's see what else we got. It's 3:52 a.m. Do you know where your Bitcoin are? Man, that's old school there. They're gone. Man, I haven't looked at that one in a while. Let's go check that one out. Smaller cap or smaller volume name. Pick the right one, right? I mean, there's only 1,300 cryptocurrencies. You'd think I would have them all memorized. Yeah, I did. So let's see here what we got going on. This one's looking like it's trying to put in finally, maybe putting in a low. 15,000 BTC in Australian dollars. You should have told me I would have had that 10K party a long time ago. I would have had the 15K party. So yeah, this one's looking like it's maybe finally hitting a low. Pretty good on the daily chart. You can see the last couple of weeks starting to edge higher here. That's a pretty good percent. What is that? Off the lows. Nobody gets the lows, so don't feel bad if you did. 50% off the low so far. Is it breaking that downtrend finally? Maybe. Where's my line? Not this line. Bam. Not quite. it's trying. See where that first that little wick hit right to that line here. So we'll see. I don't know what the volume is on this one though. It's pretty small. $1.45 million or so. Not too bad. $73 million market cap. 99.40. And that's because you've got 98.43 USD Bitfinex, $10,477 in Korea. GDAX 98.99. High BTC 98.83. Just over 10,000. Japan. So there's a few 10Ks out there already, no doubt. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost 2 a.m. my time. I'm not sure how much we can keep going here because it's just sitting tight. It's sitting tight. 10K party. I'm going to do another live stream that says 10K party. Again. Part 2. Maybe. Metaverse. I think we looked at Metaverse. I think I just looked at Metaverse, didn't I? Yeah, it's right at a key resistance or support level. It's got to hold here. Had that big pullback. This would be where it wants to hold. Where's the 10K after party? Come on. Coin. I haven't shown Coin. But Coin looks like on Polo. Man, Coin. Man, oh man. I don't know why it looks like that. What's your take on the BitConnect landing platform? I think you meant lending platform. I'm not on it. I'm not a fan of it. I think the biggest thing is my concern is counterparty risk, and anything that makes me stake my Bitcoin for months or weeks or whatever, I'd just rather not. I'd rather just have access to my coins. And there's a lot of debate out there about the Ponzi scheme and it's making money. Is there really a bot that trades and makes 1% a day? I doubt it. I really do. Why would you have a bot that literally prints money and then make a whole business around trying to get other people to buy into that business so that they can take advantage of your money printing bot? Why not just go to a mega fund, a hedge fund, and say, hey, I've got this bot and I will let you invest with me. Why go to the average Joe? No offense if you're a BitConnect person, but why go to the retail public? Just doesn't make any sense. It's my take. $9.8. $9.9. Let's see here. Yes, I was talking about Substratum earlier. And what I'm looking at here is it's kind of giving this little secondary entry. Thinking maybe it's going to put in a little bit more of a base first as opposed to just bounce and go straight up. But looking pretty good. Not too bad here, actually. I had that nice run up, big volume. This was a big reversal bar. And again, you got to pay attention to that volume there. Big profit taking showed up there. So that was your signal. At best, it's due for a pause here, not necessarily a big crash. The yellow line there is that prior resistance, now new support. So that's the level to be watching. The moving average is catching up. And so far, it's looking okay. If it just continues to drift lower, though, I mean, at some point, you know what I say. you got to have a stop at some point. Pick a place. Zcoin. Let's take a look at Zcoin. Look at Zcoin on the tracks. So let's see here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Take a look at this on the 1 day. Man, this one's actually been doing pretty good lately. It's had these. It feels like it's being accumulated here. Just in recent, I mean, look at all these big volume bars here. There's just a lot of accumulation coming in on this one. Horizontal resistance. You can see kind of the old price here. Multiple tops there. I don't think you need to wait for it to clear that. I mean, it's already breaking out technically here. And it's pulling right back to that breakout points. So this is kind of the zone. I mean, you can factor this into, but it's multiple tops here. Finally breaks out, pulling right back in. Good secondary entry right here, in my opinion. You can keep a tight stop on this. On the 4-hour chart, though, I mean, this by nature is volatile, but you can see kind of a constructive pullback so far. If it continues again, just like the other one, to really break below this, then that's a failed breakout. How high do I think Bitcoin will get in 2018 realistically? So here's the thing. We're at new highs. Man, that's just a hard call to make. But I was talking about it earlier, was the potential for a J-curve parabolic blow-off. And if we see that happen in 2018, then there's really no telling how high we go, because maybe it doubles from here. I mean, you just don't know, right? If you start to see this big parabolic move that just takes it higher and it does one of these things, it could go from 10 to 12 to 15 here quick, right? And we don't know if or when that happens, but if it does, those moves at the very end are just, man, it's just hard to say. People are saying 40,000 next year. Honestly, I doubt it, but who knows? If you would have asked me in April, does Bitcoin hit 10,000 before the end of the year? I would have told you no. But man, who knows? It's been quite the developments this year. So just ride it. Just ride it. All right, we'll take a look at Ethereum. We'll take a look at Litecoin. Do a couple more. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a night for now. We'll see what happens, but maybe 10K party early my day. We'll see. See what it's doing. So take a look at Ethereum, sitting pretty tight. I'm still liking Ethereum. It needed to pause. It's doing a very constructive consolidation here. Move this over. And versus USD, just sitting pretty good. Our side was way up there, and it's still up there. I mean, it hasn't really cooled off a whole lot. So maybe we touch 500 and then have a pullback. From the daily chart, though, on the moving average, I mean, it just had a huge run up. And I mean, we're still 9-10% above that that moving average. So could sit tight for a little bit longer here. Now, Litecoin, this one has a little bit more room to run, I'm thinking. And it's sitting nice, just edging out above those old highs here on the closing basis. And it's looking good. It's looking real good here on Litecoin. And just kind of giving these little short consolidations. But I mean, on this 4-hour chart, just steady, marching along. Now, yes, you are starting to see a little bit of divergence here showing up. So this high, see these highs getting higher there. So that's usually kind of the first signal that maybe it's pausing here. Maybe it's going to stop for a little bit. Doesn't necessarily mean it crashes, but how high is this one? Again, 10% from the moving average. So, I mean, even if this thing pulled back down to $82 or $80, would be a normal pullback. Actually, would be a nice big base with a little bit of a handle, and then we can see it pop after that. So, something to keep an eye on. But on the daily chart, The R size, it's not too bad. What else here? I think that was it. So let me look at these here. We covered Ethereum. We covered a lot of charts. We covered them all. Almost all of them. All right. I'll do I'll do a couple of those. Probably won't do any more that I've already done. I'll keep a look. Ardor. Finally sitting tight. I thought I was going to start busting out over here. Didn't. Just kind of pulled back in. And look at this big volume move here. It gave us almost a little bit of a double top though on the 4-hour chart. That's going to be really hard to overcome technically. So when you see this attempt fails, it's okay the first time. Attempt fails the second time. Usually gets tougher to overcome that. So unless there's some news or something that really changes, some big volume, I'd be cautious on something like that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for a wonderful live stream. A good time partying with the Node Investor. I'm gonna have to save, cracking open the celebratory champagne and fireworks and whatever else for a little bit. Until next time, take care, everyone. Talk to you soon. Cheers. Ugh.